Right, has anyone got anything to say other than they lost discs?
No.
No, not at all. The papers were empty, unless you want to talk a lot about they lost the discs. And really, so what? They're just people's bank account numbers and the name of their first pet, whatever else it was. They can't take your money with just that. And you go through the papers and then think, oh, there's bound to be stuff in them to have a little chit-chat about in the evening, but nothing. I mean, nothing today. So, if you'd like to talk about anything at all except for the discs, then give me a ring. This will be the perfect opportunity to mould the show in your own favour. There wasn't even enough material to write an intro.
I'm not worried about the discs at all.
I can care less.
They're lost, aren't they? They're not in somebody's possession.
Well, the police were roaming all over that building, and if somebody had sold them to Russian crims, then you'd think we'd know about it by now.
Yeah.
But no, that's right. They just lost them. That's all. In much the same way as something like 1 in 10 of the things that you stick in the post box will also get lost this Christmas. But I just don't have any interest in it. But it's another whip for the press to take up to beat the government with. And tomorrow it'll be something else, and they'll say, "Thank you, sir, may I have another?" Isn't that right, Jethro?
Yeah.
You are very reliable.
Try to be.
Good
yeah, you know, I've got commitments to make. When do I get my cheque?
As soon as I get mine.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I do take jelly beans if they can't get hold of sterling in its most fluid form. I do take jelly beans or white powder stuff called
gold. We could send you some gold, but unfortunately, our prudent chancellor sold the vast majority of our gold reserves at a 20-year low in the market because it was prudent or something.
No, it's because it's cracking up. It's not. You keep on putting him down. He's a very, very nice man who wants to kill 12 deals.
Yeah.
And he sold the gold quite obviously because it was cracking up. They found it was cracking up. It was American gold bought in the 1940s, and they thought it'd last forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. But it began to crack up, and he thought, I better get rid of that, and possibly sometime later, when I've got a bit of more tax off the people, I'll replace it. But at the moment, we need to spend it on...
Don't be daft. It cracked. What difference does that make?
It does crack. Well, it doesn't look so good, does it? The quality goes down.
It doesn't look so good. All they'd have to do is just melt it down and make it into a nice new ingot.
Yeah, but that takes energy, and we've got the carbon footprint and the methane footprint and all that kind of stuff.
Rubbish. Had nothing to do with it because it was cracked. It was all about trying to make the euro look a more popular currency because he sold the gold and bought the euro.
The what?
The euro. You remember the euro?
The euro.
Euro, yeah. We've got to come up with a better name than euro. I mean, as I've said before, it's one of the reasons that nobody wants it. Euro. That would be 3 euros, please. It's one of those words that never ends. Euros. You could be sitting here saying that one word next week.
Yeah, but everything about the EU is euro, isn't it? It's like Euro Disney, Euro Disco, Euro Trash.
Yeah, that's right.
Isn't it? Well, anyway, I wanted you to help me because I'm trying to write a book. And I just wanted to can I run the narrative through to you?
Yes, all right. Why not?
It's a kind of romantic, kind of tragic story about a mythological, semi-mythological royal family coming from a place called Windsorania. And what happens is that the eldest son of the royal family, after having done education at university and whatnot, joins one of the armed forces and. In fact, he goes in the Navy, and he's sent off on a mission. But before he's sent off on a mission, he falls in love with this woman. And I was trying to think. I didn't quite know what to call her. I think I might call her Daffodil. Yeah. They call her Daffodil.
Good idea.
After a flower. And while he's away on this long mission, she doesn't spurn his love, but she forgets his love, and she goes and marries someone else.
Right.
And when he's away on this long mission somewhere, I don't know, China, sort of defending the spice trade or something, something like that. he hears about it, he's deeply upset, and he comes back, and he's morose and lonely, upset. But his daddy says to him in a serious talk one day that, look, son, you know, you've lost Daffodil, but you've got to do the family business, which is producing children. So...
I hope this has a happy ending, by the way.
Well, yeah, it's a variable ending. It's a variable ending, and he marries this very, very sort of demure and quiet lady from the countryside, whom he has a child with. But then their marriage doesn't go that well, actually, and the nice demure lady from the countryside turns into a self-assertive, kind of self-aggrandizing, Queenie type person. Not quite a Queenie, because she's not a queen, you know, but what they're called if they're not quite a queen. Oh, you know, so like a princess or something. And anyway, she has a love affair with someone.
Right.
And
where is this actually going, Jethro? I mean, so far it's not ringing any bells at all. But
it's not ringing any bells at all.
No.
It's not meant to be ringing. Do you think it's a viable storyline?
No, I don't think the press would be interested in something like that.
Oh, okay. You don't think they'd possibly... Well, I mean, if I had wrote it, and it was really, really good and scintillating, and it captured the public imagination, and everyone got emotionally involved in it, then perhaps the press could serialise it, you know, like every day on their front page.
Yeah, every day. Does it come with pictures?
Well, I could do some illustration. I could do it myself, but my standard of artwork is not very good. Or I could contract someone like Steve Bell or Gerald Scarfe to do the pictures.
No, I don't think that would fly. We need actual photographs.
Oh, photographs. Like in Jackie.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Like in Jackie, they used to do the sort of, dear so-and-so, I've lost my boyfriend, I'll tell you the story. And then they have kind of, actors and actresses. Can you call a female actress? Is that okay nowadays?
Yeah. Well, how do you know so much about Jackie, by the way? Gosh, that was a long
does it worry you?
No, just curious, that's all.
Well, I had an androgynous upbringing.
Right.
No, I didn't know, because when I was you know, just going post-puberty at school, I used to get my Victor and Beano and stuff like that, and 20th century, I don't know what it was called, Fox or something, I can't remember what it's called. But, and I noticed the girls got things like Jackie, and they used to get full posters of David Cassidy in them, and sometimes I used to, in my lunchtime, after I've eaten my wonderful school dinner, I used to just peruse through them.
After you've read your macho magazines, you thought...
My macho magazines, yeah, before I moved on to Hugh Hefner type stuff.
Right. You thought...
As I got a bit older.
You'd have a quick peek at what the other half is looking at.
Yeah, well, yeah, you've got to try and... I'd learned from an early age.
Yeah, well, there's nothing strange in that.
No, to try and think how the fairer sex actually thinks.
In order to get closer to them.
Emotionally.
And physically. And how's that working out for you?
What, the emotional closeness?
Yeah.
Well,
Another giant silence.
yes, yeah, I mean, yes, my reticence does speak volumes, but then again, hey, you know, I'm a complete individual, aren't I?
Yes, a complete...
If you're not attached, if you're not attached by something called a marriage contract, then you're totally free in a way. Is
that what you're calling it? You're free.
I'm a libertarian, self-assertive, independent male, just strutting through life with carefree anxiety.
Yeah, you've just painted exactly the description that they put up on the news about serial killers. Oh, he kept to himself. He was a loner.
Oh no, this is my front. It's suggesting that this phoning up public radio stations and putting my viewpoints across and trying to be relatively failing, obviously, amusing every so often, is actually a big front for my sadistic, horrible, nasty self.
Yeah, it's a cry from help. But anyway, unfortunately, we're out of time. We have to go.
It's okay. Well,
Cheers,
I hope I helped you a little bit, anyway.
A little bit, yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thank
you. It is 7:15. Here is the very, very bad travel news.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. It's not looking great at all if you're heading west of...
Hey, honey, how are you?
So it's obviously a very, very important day for our national sport. But we want to keep it a football-free zone, because presumably everybody that's going to be interested in the football is going to be watching the football or listening to the football or doing something other than listening to this, so we'll keep it a football-free... It's not like talk sport. But the number is 0845... 6060973, and as I say, I scanned the paper. Well, here's what I've got. Now, you can set the agenda if you like. Just whatever comes in your head. 0845 6060973, or And these, much of these stories are things that I've been carrying around for a little while now. Shakira versus Afghanistan. You know the singer Shakira? She did a performance in Afghanistan which really upset the people there. Hypochondria. Police versus the Channel 4. Speed cameras. There's a new type of speed camera coming in, from which there will be no escape. Army shortages. The police mascot is racist. Streaming in schools. Gordon's plan to save the world. I kind of did that yesterday. I'll get rid of that one. TV nannies. Too fat to work. I kind of skated over that yesterday. I'm going to get rid of that one as well, just in case. Shoplift Britain. We are the worst in Europe, apparently. Asylum seekers. I'll get rid of that one. Northern Rock Rescue Plan. Are we all bored of that yet? Kind of. Airport queues. Policemen selling cigarettes to kids. Prince Philip. Gaffed again, if that is indeed a verb. Romp with fence. Oh, yes. Some chap wanted to have a romp with a fence. No sex before marriage. They are trying to bring the same notion about sex that they have in America to here, and persuading people not to have sex before marriage. Modern life and modern jargon. The look of love. How to get someone to really fancy you. That's been around about a week or so, that one. Risky childhood. That you should introduce risk to childhood. NHS chiefs jollies. They're all going on a super holiday. How to be 100. And polar bears. And there was a thing about polar bears today, so they're all going to die because people are hunting them, but apparently the reverse is true. Here is West Midlands. Marion.
Hello there, Nick.
Hey, Marion, how are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you.
Great. You don't sound that happy.
Well, me and my husband are just getting divorced at the moment, so
Right.
I'm not 100% happy.
Right. And how long have you been married?
Been married for 3 years, been together for 11. Got a 2-year-old daughter.
Do you think he's going to burn your house down in order to stop you getting it?
I hope not, because he's staying in it with my daughter.
Right.
Hopefully it'll stay intact.
Okay. So what did you call about?
I just wanted to say how much I'm enjoying the show. I'm a new listener. I just bought myself a digital radio a few weeks ago, and I found the station.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm converted over from Talk Sport and Radio 4.
Hey, good for you.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say I really enjoy the station and your show.
All right. Well, that's great. Thanks a lot, Marion. What's life like in the West Midlands? Where exactly?
I live in Walsall.
Right.
So it's pretty dismal in Walsall.
Well, just the name Walsall doesn't conjure up anything positive. No, I mean, I know precious little about it, but, no.
It's not a very positive place, actually.
Right. Why'd you live there?
I don't know. I'm thinking of moving somewhere else, somewhere nice, perhaps down south somewhere.
Well, bring a lot of money with you.
I'll try.
Okay.
I'll see what happens in the divorce settlement.
Yeah, you might get lucky. All right.
You never know.
Well, thanks a lot, Marion.
All right, Nick. Nice
Cheers.
to talk to you.
Ta-ra.
See you. Bye.
Closer to home, Romford. Hello, Dave.
Hiya, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. I've got a slight problem, or a poser.
Yeah.
Right, you're talking about speed cameras, but what about speed humps? Why is it that when they put a speed hump in, and you're in a limit of, say, 20 or 30 mile an hour, why does it make you slow down even more to 15 mile an hour?
Well, what it actually does, it makes people zoom between speed bumps. Because if you just took a 10 or 15 mile an hour stretch and hit that speed continuously, then you wouldn't be accelerating and then slowing down, accelerating and slowing down. But it's almost impossible to do that because you just... Even if it took you exactly the same amount of time to get from one end of the road to the next, if you did it all at 10 miles an hour rather than speeding up and slowing down, there's just something about crawling along at that speed that just doesn't sit right. And so that's what we do. And that's not actually saving the planet very much. In much the same way that every car in the west of London right now is sitting almost motionless because somebody had an accident in Hammersmith hours ago.
Oh, that's right.
And because the police don't seem to have any desire to keep the traffic moving, they cone it off, and then they put on their high-vis jackets, and they wander around, and they take pictures, and then they pop off for a holiday, and then they come back, and it's still nothing's happened.
No, that's right.
And because they don't seem to want to get traffic moving, thousands of cars are sitting, belching out smoke, destroying the sky, which I thought was part of the plan to save.
Oh, the old carbon footprint stuff, isn't it?
Exactly.
But the thing is, that's right. But I'm now, as I'm talking to you now, I'm going down a little side road to my home. Now, this side road is 30 miles an hour. It's got speed humps down it. Now, if I'm doing 30, I should be able to quite comfortably go over that speed hump because I'm doing the limit.
Right.
If I do 30 miles an hour, my front wheels actually take off.
Are they those speed bumps that are small nodules or like a tube across the road?
Tube across the road.
Right, because the small nodules, and not a lot of people know this, they actually wear out the inside of your wheels.
Yeah.
Nothing else will do that, and it knocks your wheels off alignment.
It does, and I think if every motorist put a bill into the government for shock absorbers and tracking...
And tyres. Yes. Well, it's
a website up or something like that.
Now, if we were French, we'd have done this already. We'd have taken our tyres and put them in a large pile outside their offices and set fire to them. But that's not the British way of doing things.
That's a good idea. So, all you listeners...
Yeah, get your pads out and start writing. All right, thanks a lot, Dave.
No worries.
Cheers, ta-da. East Grinstead, it's 0845 60 60 973, and I'm throwing the number out a bit because I went through the papers today and there was precious little in them apart from the Northern Rock thing and the oops, I've lost the discs, and that was pretty much it. Apparently, in some paper other than the Sun, Amy Winehouse was photographed with a white substance on her nose. Which paper had that, Helen?
It was one of the free ones. It's probably the Light one, and one of the tabloids when I got in. I can't remember which one.
I think the Light and the London paper and the Metro and all that, I think they should actually be banned. I'll come back to that in a minute. East Grinstead. Hello, Peter.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
All right, thanks.
I wonder if any listeners knew whether the value of Northern Rock is less than what the government had pumped into it. The value the government put in is 60 billion as of yesterday.
60?
Billion, yes.
60? Are you sure about that?
Yeah. As on the news yesterday. And the value of shares have dropped from £12 to 84p this morning, at lunchtime.
Yeah, well, it sort of gets worse than that. If you look a little further, and of course this might just be the Conservative Party just seeing their opportunity and having a go at them, but they have accused Labour of seeking to protect its own party interests by risking... Well, it says here 24 billion, but and this was printed on the 21st. But 60 billion, all right, 60 billion pounds of taxpayers' money to keep Northern Rock afloat. Yes. Ministers faced a damaging allegation that they had rushed to the aid of the bank because it was based in Newcastle upon Tyne, the heart of the party's north-east heartland. It came as Labour MPs from the region who were battling to save Northern Rock's 6,000 jobs. And the Conservative Party, they're saying that that's the reason that they did it. And that if it had been a building society in Guildford, for instance, then they wouldn't have seen such a generous and rapid reaction. Huh.
Not a justifiable reason for putting the money in.
Yeah. Well, that's quite scary. 60 billion.
If you consider the value of the company now, it's lost nearly 91% of its share capital.
Here's how stupid I am. I thought that after the share price went down, I thought, oh, great, I'm going to buy a lot of Northern Rock shares, because what could possibly happen to them other than go up?
It's worth considering. They're a pound on Sunday at 84p at lunchtime today.
Yeah, but no, I don't think I will.
They will get taken over, but there'll be a substantial reduced price. The question is how the government could refund all the taxpayers' money into the Treasury.
Yeah. Well, they have been saying over and over...
Nationalisation?
Well, no, they've repeated insistently that the taxpayers do not stand to lose a penny from Northern Rock.
I don't believe that.
Public money is not directly at risk, they've said, over and over and over. And,
honestly, don't believe that.
Well, no, because some analysts...
I know that Alison Darlan has said that he won't let Northern Rock be sold for less than what has been paid out by the Treasury. However, from a commercial point of view, you can only pay what the value of the asset is worth.
Right. An analyst in the Telegraph says, buried deep within the contract agreed between the Treasury and the stricken bank is a small but highly important clause. It reveals that the government, and by extension the taxpayer, us, could lose out on a hefty chunk of the amount, that you say now is 60 billion. I hadn't read that. If the Northern Rock collapses. It also shows that the government is planning to finance the company's survival fund for as long as 5 years. We're going to be pouring money into that thing. Some have calculated that if the bank has to borrow 20 billion over 2 years, the size of the subordinated debt, which is some sort of weird financial calculation, the size of the debt that we would have to pay for is 500 million. So not the entire, and if it's 60 billion, then it would be 1,500,000,000,000. So not the full 60, but a significant amount.
There's a significant amount to be lost.
Yeah, more than change. The news is on the way, but thanks for that, Peter.
Okay.
Cheers, mate. And I'm sure that the news will be full of these two things. All bad.
LBC. Welcome. Come on in.
Hertfordshire. Hello, Luca. Oh, Luca. How about Cardiff? Ben.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Hey, Ben, how you going?
I'm good. Is my reception all right? I guess it wasn't earlier.
It is perfect.
Oh, good. Have you heard about Parkinson's final show lineup?
Well, I would have guessed at least one of the guests that he has.
Been raving on about for a while, hasn't it?
Billy Connolly is going to be there, right?
Oh, yeah, he's going to be the most appeared guest, isn't he, for the 8th time?
Yeah, and Posh and Bex, right?
Well, Bex is there.
No Posh.
You can probably guess some of them, actually.
The thing with David Beckham is that he's not a very interesting conversationalist. But then no footballer is, really. That's not what they do.
No.
Their brains are in their feet.
Especially David Beckham.
But but he had to have him because he needed a really big star. And I think the problem that Michael Parkinson has is that the kind of conversation that he has with people doesn't fit with the modern PR-driven age. He wants to have an actual real chat with people and talk about, things other than their latest film or book or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But modern stars, particularly Hollywood stars, they don't do that. I mean, if you look at chat shows in America, they're very superficial, they're very structured, they've worked out ahead of time exactly what they're going to say. They'll come on with a cute story and they'll be prompted, and the whole thing will only last 5 to 10 minutes, absolute tops, which is not what Michael Parkinson was traditionally good at. He had a sort of more wide-ranging, like an actual conversation, rather than a scripted bit, which is what the American stars are used to doing when they go on a chat show. Yeah. And when they come over here, they're not used to people talking about their childhood, and it's like, why would you want to know that, or how impertinent that you would even ask that, and so on. Yeah, and so I think his time is the time for that sort of conversation, which personally I do like, is sort of gone, because the public relations industry has taken over the access that people like Parkinson get with stars.
Yeah, he's not really got a young audience at the moment, has he?
Well, he's not getting young guests, no. But then he's 70-odd years old himself. But it's not the age of the presenter. It's where you pitch what you do. I mean, some of the talk show hosts in America are sort of 60-some years old, but they get a very young audience, and people like Howard Stern and Neil Rogers and so on. So it's not the age that you are; it's the act that you have.
Yeah, he's got quite some old guests, like you said.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go through them, or do you want to guess?
Yeah, go on then.
The Dame Judi Dench.
Right.
Sir David Attenborough.
Yeah.
Sir Michael Caine.
Anybody that hasn't got a title.
Peter Kay.
Peter Kay, right.
And your favourite, who has a title, I think it's genuine, I'm not sure. Dame Edna Everage.
Yeah, I suppose that is a title, yeah.
Yeah, so that's it. And also, the music will be Jamie Cullum.
Of course it will. Well, that's a lot of guests. How long is that show going to be?
I don't know, but I can imagine it's going to be a long one.
Well, I would think, not more than an hour, I wouldn't think.
It says it's a special, and it's going to be on the 15th of December.
Right.
It's looking back at his career as well.
Right. So there'll be the Emu skit, and him talking to Muhammad Ali, and some Hollywood stars of old. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently it says Astaire to Nureyev, Ali to Ricky Hatton, Beth to Beckham, Bergman to Blanchett, Jack Benny to Billy Connolly, and he says he'll miss it.
Right.
So, is it the end of an era?
I think the end of his era was a while ago.
I think it was when he switched to ITV. I think it was before.
Well, it's funny that when people get established on one channel, whether it's the BBC or ITV, and then they change in a big money move, their career often just disappears before their eyes. It happened with Kenny Everett. He never achieved the same level of success on BBC television as he did on the London Weekend. It happened with Morecambe and Wise when they went to ITV. That was it for them. And it sort of happened with Parker. It happened with Des Lynam when he went from the BBC to ITV.
Yeah, has it happened with Paul O'Grady? Because I know he changed into from ITV.
Ah, well, he's the one that he's the exception that proves the rule. No, he seems to be still flying.
Oh, yeah, I went to see the Paul O'Grady show like last year sometime. It was amazing. So there was Ricky Gervais on. Really funny.
Oh, you mean you went to see the television programme, not him as a stand-up?
Oh no, I wonder what it'd be like as a stand-up actually.
Very rude.
Yeah, I was about to say very rude.
Very, very rude. Yeah, I don't think that the old dears in his television audience would appreciate it.
No, I mean we saw. I went to see the Supermarket Suite once, and Dale Winton. Like some of his comedy, you wouldn't expect it to come out of his mouth.
Dale Winton.
Yeah, Dale Winton.
The puffy, he kind of looks like a puffy nut. I've never seen anybody with skin that colour. I saw him on Oxford Street once. He was coming out of a record store. And I was a bit taken aback. He's a very, very large person. That was the thing that surprised me most. But the colour of his skin, what colour is that?
I'm not sure, but it's the same in real life as it is on TV.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Not the lights.
Oh, a lovely cup of tea. Thanks, Helen. Well, cheers for that, Ben. So you're going to be watching that?
Probably not.
Oh, go on, mate. It's his last
TV
show.
Doesn't work.
TV doesn't work. Oh, well,
in halls
there is a problem. In halls.
I don't have a license.
Right. Well, if you're in halls, if you're a student in halls, then you've got much better things to do than hang around watching television. There's a whole world out there. Go and grab it with both hands. Good man. All right, thanks, Ben.
See you later. Bye.
Are we interested in the last episode of Parkinson? Will you be sitting in front of your box and watching that?
We are not.
I think I will.
I thought it already happened.
You thought it had been gone already?
Yeah, I thought it was long gone.
Yeah.
You can't keep going and coming back and then
Well, I suppose so, yeah. Although Frank Sinatra would have disagreed.
But then he was brilliant.
Well, Parkinson was different to everybody else. He's certainly different to any interviewer that's on television now. He, as I said, as I was sort of fumbling around trying to explain my thought, he converses with people, or at least he makes the impression of doing that. Whereas everybody else just does. Most of the TV chat show hosts now, in this country particularly, they're all trying to be David Letterman on the one hand, but they've all got their scripted jokes that they want to get in, regardless of the person that they're interviewing, because it's all about the host rather than the interviewer. And with Parkinson, it was the other way around. And so they all want to go from this joke to that joke, and they're going to go from A to B to C, regardless of what their interviewer is actually talking about, because they've got these jokes in their minds, and they're going to get them out because it's their show, right? But Parkinson is the antithesis of this. And at the beginning of every series, he always goes on the attack and lays into the people that have followed him, or that are on now. But as I say, I think that the PR industry always wants its major stars to come out looking as good as possible. And to do that, they don't want to have conversations about their childhood and were they happy and so on and so forth. They just want to concentrate on the film, to sell the film as much as they possibly can, and to use all the airtime that they've got to make more money.
That's just reminded me, I did see a cracking interview with Parky and I think it's Noel Gallagher, the one with the short hair.
Really? Wouldn't have thought that would have been his,
Yeah, I nearly cried, but then I cried...
You cried?
Well, I cried very easily, but he was kind of talking about his childhood, but not in a sort of superficial way, but in a kind of really sort of real... It was just great television.
Huh.
And Parky gave him enough space to...
That's the key, isn't it? Space, yeah. Because there is no space on modern television chat shows, because it has to be very, very fast.
Yeah.
And by its nature very superficial. And so I think I mean, even though I haven't really watched Parkinson in a long time, in much the same way as I didn't listen to John Peel in a long time, after John Peel went, I felt, even though I haven't listened to him for 20 years maybe, I miss him. Isn't that weird? And I think that the same will apply to Michael Parkinson. People will think, well, you know what, that was a better age of television interviewing. These days it's, you know, the star will come on. I mean, if you watch David Letterman, for instance, I think he's still on some funny satellite channel called...
But how does he compare to somebody like Rossi? Because he's kind of he's the number one, isn't he?
Well, I'm very aware that Jonathan Ross's brother works here,
That's
so
right.
I'm not going to say anything negative about Jonathan Ross at all. But David Letterman, I mean, even Jonathan Ross would admit that David Letterman is the man who Jonathan and every other young pretender on British television who has a chat show bases his style, his act on, because he was the original sort of left field talk show host in America. He's still on some weird satellite channel that I caught the other day, something called Feminine Television, or it's just some weird thing I'd never even heard of. Yeah, why they have him on, I've got no idea, but they did. And it's very entertaining, but in an incredibly superficial way. You'll watch it, you can watch it for 40 minutes and forget it almost the second it's over. And that's the nature of modern television chat shows. But Parkinson is not like that. He's not... he requires a longer attention span. And nothing in British television, or American television, especially these days, requires an attention span. It's all cut. And
it's Paul O'Grady, isn't it? That he's kind of the new rising...
I suppose, yeah, I suppose so.
But his is filled with all kinds of silly stuff, isn't it?
But I won't say a negative thing about Paul O'Grady. I think he's a really good talent.
But Parky, he isn't a personality, really, is he?
No, I think that's his key.
That's how it works, because he's almost like the man in the street.
Yes.
Kind of, you can relate to him more.
He's a beige background on which the guest can paint themselves.
Yeah.
It's not a very good analogy, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, he's not there to do an act.
No.
He's not like... It's the Michael Parkinson show. You're going to hear these are jokes and this routine.
Like Clive Anderson, for instance, is a very clever, very funny man. Not a good interviewer, and he had a chat show. Do you remember Clive Anderson, the ex-lawyer? And as a chat show, it was rubbish. But he is very funny. But he wasn't obvious. He obviously wasn't, and he is the exact description. He epitomises the description that I gave, of somebody who has to go from joke here to joke there to joke there, regardless of what you're talking about. He's going to shoehorn it in somewhere.
Because you watched that for him, didn't you? You didn't...
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You didn't watch it for the stars.
Yeah, and Clive Anderson didn't seem remotely interested in whoever he was talking to, and which led to the viewer not being very interested either.
Yeah.
Parkinson, on the other hand, you could watch the Michael Parkinson show and not even see Michael Parkinson. He's so bland, but that's the key to his success, of which he certainly had a lot. It's 7:46. Here's Travel Now with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick. Just an update.
Do you mind telling me what this is all about?
Here is Thurrock. Greg.
Hello, Nick.
Hey, Greg. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good. Enjoyed the show. It's great.
Thank you.
That's all right. You remember last week you were talking about the website, the hotel that was selling furniture?
The what?
The website where they had a hotel and they were selling people furniture, you know?
No.
Non-existent furniture in the
Oh, yeah, some sort of game, right.
Yeah.
So it's a game, apparently, and I wasn't, and I talked about it for a lot, and somebody explained it to me, but I'm still not very clear, called Habbo Hotel, or Harbo, or something like that.
That's right.
Where people buy a room, or they rent a room, or some such thing, and then they buy, with real money, furniture that doesn't exist, to put in the room so that other people can come and say nice things about their furniture, which doesn't exist.
Well, then, tonight you were talking about Northern Rock and about the shareholders.
Yeah.
And for years, I've been asking people who should know better to explain to me how the share system works, what's the ethos behind it, and what's the practicalities of it. And they normally dry up after about 3 or 4 minutes because they can't quite understand it themselves. And I thought to myself, is there anyone listening, or maybe you, could explain what the rationale is behind
the idea of buying shares in a company that they sell to you, for £1, say.
Yeah.
And then after a year, and they're doing really well for whatever reason, they discovered a new
widget.
And it goes up in value. So that person who's bought the share for £1 sells it to someone else for £10.
Right.
But first of all, the company doesn't get any of that money, or do they? I don't know. Yeah. So they're like paralleling the company's achievements and having a side bet.
Well, betting is exactly what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So if it goes up, they're all happy, and if it goes down, they're not so happy.
Everyone is not happy, apart from the managing director, who still gets his bonus anyway.
Well, but that hasn't got anything to do with the share prices, or has it? And then when Northern Rock gets into difficulty, the government has apparently come in and bailed them out because the shareholders are screaming. Shouldn't it be the shareholders? If they're that confident, or if they're that determined or concerned, shouldn't they pump another £10 a share back into the bank to save it if they've got shares in that bank? You see what I'm saying?
I do, because it's the...
I don't know what this share system, how the shares, what's the rationale behind it?
Right.
It seems nuts to me. It's like it's like me setting up a stall in a market and saying, well, I'll sell you shares in Marks and Spencer's or a mining company or a chemical company, and other people can come and buy them or sell them as they wish. Right. But what's that got to do with what the company's doing? If
anybody works in the city or has any knowledge of this and can sum it up in words that we'll all understand,
because you don't understand it either.
Well, I've got a better one than that.
Go on.
I don't understand banks. If you think about banks, they set themselves up. They've got a nice property on the high street, or these days, not even that. They just have a name on a website, and you give them actual money.
Yeah.
And in return, they will give you a number on a piece of paper. Right.
That
seems insane to me. And, and the only evidence that you've got that you've given them that money is a number on a piece of paper, or if it's internet banking, a number on a screen that disappears as soon as you turn your computer off. And I worry about this on a daily basis now, because I've got all of my money in a bank that until about 6 months ago I'd never even heard of. It's a bank that is not even based in this country.
What, a Nigerian bank or something?
No.
Oh, right.
A little further north than that. And because of this Northern Rock thing, I'm thinking, well, should I actually split it up and spread it over a dozen banks, or 20, or 30, or 100 even?
Well, it just makes life complicated.
Well, it does, yeah. But by keeping it in one that I've never heard of, that I only know about from reading about it on a website, and I've given them all of my money, and all they've given me is an account number and the figure on a screen saying that it's actually in there. But how do I know it's in there?
It goes. I mean, it's a lot more fundamental with banks because it's built on trust, isn't it? So
exactly, trust.
They've
yeah.
got their name to.
Who do you trust these days that you don't actually know?
Yeah.
Who would you trust? Someone you've never met before with everything you own?
Well, like you mean?
Yeah.
No.
and I do feel like I've made a giant mistake. But they promised me what is, on the surface, a good good interest rate.
So that was the hook.
And so I just trust that they've actually still got my money. But if it disappeared, and if they said, oh, well, who? Nick Abbott? No, we've never heard of you. Money? No, we've never seen any money.
So the only criteria that you had was the interest rate?
Yeah. Greed.
Exactly.
That's what it was.
Yeah. I suppose you could put it under the bed, but then you'd have to make sure it was safe every day.
Yeah.
But I just can't, as I say, I like to sound all sophisticated and, man of the world. And then when the conversation gets there and I ask the questions, I show myself up and they all show themselves up as not being quite the ticket because they get to the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, it's a bit worrying really, because we don't make anything in this country anymore. All we do now is, take some money from over here and put it over there and take a slice. That's all we seem to do in this country now. And it's all, as you say, based on trust. It's based on numbers on a screen. And if their computer goes down, then you don't have any money anymore.
No, we'll never invest in anything that you can't drop on your foot, they always say.
Yeah, well, that's a good idea, yeah.
But if there is anyone that can, without drying up halfway through or sort of going off into la-la land,
yes,
you know, and talking about, shorts and long...
And all of that stuff.
But
if they can clear it up for us...
Why it should be, and why the investors, the people who are crowing to their friends that they've got shares in this, that and the other, when it goes down as far as the market's concerned, well, dig in your own pocket and bolt them up. And pay that company, and get them out of the hole rather than government.
But they would say that that's just throwing good money after bad.
Well, they were quite happy to take the punt earlier on, weren't they?
Well, yeah.
You can't... I mean, if they were going to do that all the time, I'd think to myself, well, I'll just go and buy myself £1,000 worth of shares every week, and if it all goes pear-shaped, I'll just knock on Gordon Brown's door and say, oh, can you help me out here, Gord?
Yeah. Yes, after Northern Rock, I think we should all have our business interests, whatever they may be, guaranteed by the taxpayer. And if we go bankrupt, then we can just go with our hands out and we'll be paid the full amount. Well, thanks for that, Greg. I've got to go because here comes a short, brief message, which is very important. This is... Hey, I've just read that we're going to be getting free high-def television. Are you all high-defed up in there? Hello?
It's a bit noisy.
Is it?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's that about? Oh, we're getting the rubbish taken away. All right. Well, let's... While you fade that down, here's King's Cross. Eddie.
Hello.
Hey, Eddie, how are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. I just heard a couple of presenters today talking about a man who burned his house down to stop his wife getting the chair.
Yes.
Well, a friend of mine had it on the other foot. His wife burnt the house down, but she waited until he brought her out of the house. And then she phoned up the Building Society, cancelled the buildings and contents insurance, got herself a perfect alibi by being about 300 miles away, and sent her mates round to burn it down.
How can you... Yeah, that seems insane to me. How can you pledge to spend the rest of your life with someone and then end up hating them so much?
It's hard to understand, isn't it?
It is a bit hard to understand, yeah. It's,
he's still paying the mortgage for a plot of land, because where it is in Devon, it's like the house was worth more than the value of the land, and he can't refinance it. So he's now living in rented accommodation and paying the mortgage still, with all he's got is a plot of land.
Well, she did him up like a kipper.
Certainly did.
That's a terrible story.
It is, it's awful.
Not even remotely funny.
It's not funny, but it's certainly worse than what the other guy did.
Yeah, it is, yeah. It's one louder, as you'd say.
But he hasn't let it get him down.
He's still chipper, is he?
He is, it's unbelievable. He's the most resilient person I've ever known.
Well, some people are like that, and some people will take the smallest little thing and let it and magnify it until it just ruins their lives.
Yeah.
I think I'm the latter.
Yeah, I'm probably like that.
That's why I'm taking a kaleidoscope of pills. Yeah, all right. Well, thanks for that, Eddie.
All right.
Okay, cheers.
Bye.
Yes, that is a bit of a mystery, isn't it? I pledge to spend the rest of my life with you. I really, really love you. And then you spend a couple of years with them, and then you want to kill them. Something's gone seriously wrong.
Can't stand him.
Hey, Boris Johnson's actually said something. Can you believe that? I mean, apparently he is running for mayor. He is a mayoral contender. But can you remember the last time he actually came out in public and said something that had something to do with his race to be our glorious leader? I can't think of anything. Can you think of anything that he's actually said or stated, or like a policy that he's given, or anything at all? I mean, apart from being lovely and cuddly and warm.
He's got lovely hair, hasn't he?
Well, yeah, he does, yeah. He gives good hair, yeah. But he's now come out and said something. We've all been waiting with bated breath to see if he is actually going to say something, or whether his entire candidacy is going to be based on being cute. And I'm prepared to vote for him just on that basis. Because who would you rather cuddle?
Paddock, actually.
Paddock?
Yeah.
He'd be all corners, wouldn't he? He'd be elbows.
Yeah, I can deal with that. Boris would be all kind of saliva and...
Oh, really?
Nice ruffly hair.
No.
Like a dog.
If you covered him with fur, he would be a Christmas teddy.
Was he?
I think so, yeah. He'd be one of those giant ones that you can buy in Hamleys. Like a 6-foot Christmas teddy. All podgy and...
Would you cuddle Ken?
A kettle? No. No.
Slimy.
Well, that's what I was going to say, but then I stopped myself from saying it. But you went ahead and just blurted it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're saying Ken would be slimy, Paddock would be all corners and elbows.
I don't mind him. I'll have Paddock to cuddle. You can have Boris, and you've got Ken, Alex.
Yeah, well, I think it's not a bad choice on the Lib Dems' part, is it? Because they have actually chosen somebody that people have heard of. For the longest while, they had that hapless chap. What's his name?
Hughes.
What's his full name?
Simon.
Simon Hughes. Exactly right. See, you gave me one name, and I still couldn't remember it. And he got absolutely nowhere. He seems like a thoroughly nice fellow.
I think he was too nice, wasn't he?
Right. I did see him working the crowds with Ken on some parade or other, and I was surprised to see them there together, then being sworn political enemies. But, yeah, I think they've done quite well there, because they've got someone who does crime and punishment, which is the main thing that exercises London, doesn't it? Every time you go out, some hoodie is stabbing you in the eyeball, and we would like to have it stopped, please. We'd also have... I tell you what, I'll vote for somebody, and I don't care who they are. They could be the Nazi Party if they say that they will get London's traffic moving every time there is an accident. That the most important thing would be to clear the roads and get the traffic moving again, instead of bringing everything to a standstill. If somebody bumps someone's brake light in Hammersmith, you can absolutely guarantee that for 3 hours, the entirety of the West End of London will come to a screeching halt. And that's just incredible, isn't it? And it happens every time. Amazing.
And it normally domino effects, doesn't it, around the whole city?
Yeah. If it happens in Hammersmith, then Fulham Palace Road is screwed up, and from Hammersmith to Shepherd's Bush, you can't get there, and from Shepherd's Bush, you can't get out of town. So if you if you're heading for the M4, you forget that. And from Shepherd's Bush over to Holland Park, you can't get between them, and then from Earl's Court up to Holland Park, you can't move there, and it's just that one tiny accident can bring the whole of the west of one of the most important cities on the planet to a standstill. It just amazes me. And nobody seems to be doing anything about it. I mean, from a purely ecological point of view, it's insane to keep thousands and thousands of cars sitting, belching out fumes. I thought that that there was a drive to protect the environment. That seems to be doing exactly the opposite. And there doesn't seem to be any desire to help the car driver, because there is a great there's a great drive on to get us all out of cars. But if we'll still sit in a traffic jam for 2 hours, then you're not going to prize people out of their cars at all, are you? It's just not going to happen. So, well, someone please get a hold of it, because it's driving us. It's actually killing people, is what it's doing. I mean, you sit in a stationary car, breathing fumes in, and there's a report that I've carried around for the longest while, but I didn't. Eventually, I didn't read it out. But it says it's giving people heart attacks. But not only the fumes are giving you heart attacks, the stress is giving people heart attacks. I thought I was going to die on the way here. You get the tightness in the chest, and you think, shall I beep my horn? That'll show them.
Did you get that kind of cold, hot sweat?
Everything
lies just on your skin.
Everything. Yeah. I had to give myself mouth to mouth. Here is Shenley. Hello, Simon.
Oh, hello there,
Simon.
Yes, very interesting. You do hit all the right buttons tonight, don't you? I was listening to conversation about Parkinson, and I always really like watching him. I always thought he had some really good interviews, even in the recent past. I haven't seen him a lot on ITV, but, you know, if you go back, excuse me, obviously the one with Rod Hull, but if you think of some of the people like Lauren Bacall and some of the more interesting Hollywood stars of old, and he did actually do proper in-depth interviews with them in a way that no current interviewer does. Maybe David Frost used to try recently, but of course he's off in Al Jazeera now.
Which actually is a much more interesting and balanced channel than you might expect. Yeah. I mean, often when I can't stand the BBC News and Sky News is talking about exactly the same thing that they are, I'll start going up the dial, and Al Jazeera will often be the one that piques my interest.
I remember seeing, Parkinson did some wonderful interviews with people like Elton John. I mean, he did one probably about 4 years ago with Elton John.
Right.
Where it really was a warts and all. And, okay, it was an hour of Elton John, but actually very interesting.
Well, Elton John, and I think you've hit the thing that you've hit on there is stars from the old school, and Elton John is certainly one of those. I think that new stars are becoming much more public relations savvy.
I know, and if, for example, the one with Meg Ryan, for example, I know you saw that was absolutely stomach churning. I mean, of course, she just wanted to go on there and play the diva and only talk about her Jane Campion film, In the Cut, I think it was called. And he said, well, you know, Trini and Susanna were on. He said, what do you think about fashion? And she said, well, it doesn't matter to me. And she just cut him dead on every question. And it was riveting television, but one of the most wincing interviews you'll ever see in your life. I actually looked it up on YouTube the other day. I was being a bit of a sadder on that. But I saw him finishing, and I thought, well, I'd have to remind myself of that particular interview.
I've heard about it, but I haven't actually seen it. It's up on YouTube.
Look it up on YouTube. There's,
all right.
In all its glory. But very often these days, some of the best interviews are on breakfast television. I think 2 or 3 years ago.
Well, you can't mean that, Simon.
No, it's true. Actually, on BBC television, I actually had some fantastic interviews.
With who?
They had one 3 years ago with Sir Roger Moore, who, as a UNICEF ambassador, was in Africa looking at iodine deficiency. And he was describing how, you know, obviously he, as a film star, had been, you know, fated the world over, had everything he ever wanted, and then being a UNICEF ambassador, then used his fame to great effect and raised a lot of money for UNICEF. But he described how, you know, he used to worry about having his silk shirts ironed, when in fact now he holds babies who are dying literally in his arms. He described how he literally could feel this baby's heart beating through his ribs and stuff like that. Absolutely fascinating interview. Actually overran on, I think, one morning. But it was really interesting, and that's the sort of interview you just don't get to see anymore.
No, and I think that the public relations industry is the fault of that. I didn't put that very well, but it's public relations industry's fault, because anybody that's a big star, particularly if they come from America, so much is invested in their image that you're not allowed to peek under the surface. And so everything has to be nailed down. And if Meg Ryan, as she probably has done many times, goes on a chat show in the States, then she'll know exactly what the questions are going to be. She'll know exactly when to do her cute little story of whatever she's got prepared, and she'll know that it'll only last 5 minutes.
Yeah. But the other thing, I mean, the thing, I mean, Jonathan Ross, for example, is case in point, and, you know, I actually think he's a good presenter. Although I have to say, I think his film 2007, and that series is his best work. I don't really like what he does with his chat shows, for example. And there's nothing to do with Paul Ross, obviously, who works there, and we all listen to him as well. But for me, he tries to make himself too much the star, and he plays around too much. It distracts from and it gets to the point where I have to switch off because he's annoying me so much. Because, you know, he is funny, and he is comical, and he's clever. And he's quite capable of doing a really, really good interview, because that's the way he used to do it when he first started off. But these days, he's so busy trying to sort of upstage the star. I find it so irritating. I have to actually have to turn off.
Well, I think that is a reflection of what has happened with chat shows in America, and the younger end of the chat show market in this country all looks to David Letterman, which is a very scripted show, and I think that because the writers are on strike in America now, if it is being shown here at all, it will be repeats, because it's so...
The guy who had the canned laughter would go on strike, I tell him. have you listened to it? I mean, he's like, hi, my name's David Letterman.
No, he does actually have a studio audience.
Well, I know he does, but yeah, I'm sure it's enhanced for television, put it that way.
Right, okay.
But
I think that a lot of British chat shows are informed by his programme, which is all about David Letterman. I mean, to the point that it goes on very late. It's called The Late Show. I think it starts at 11. In some parts of America, it's probably midnight. And the first half hour is guest-free. So, at which point, most people will turn off because it's late and you've got to go to bed, right? And so it is all about the host over there, and I think that has that informs much of British talk shows as well. But yes, I'll look up Meg Ryan.
Do. It's ever so funny. Well, it's Winston, I tell you. It's one of those classic moments. It is equivalent to the evening moment, if not worse.
Okay. There's something to look forward to. Thanks, Simon.
Thanks.
Cheers. It's 8:15. Here's Travel with Amanda Redman.
Thanks very much, Nick.
Abbott.
It's a good idea to get someone else's opinion.
Mill Hill, Jonathan.
Hi, Nick.
How are you?
Good, and you?
Yes, very good, thanks.
Just phoning up about the share thing.
Right, somebody before couldn't get his head around the whole concept of shares, which seem to be a lot of money, but you can't touch it.
Yeah. Well, with a share, you buy the one share is a slice of the company.
Yeah.
And if the company does well, you expect the share price to go up. And if the company doesn't do so well, you expect the share price to go down. I think the reason for this is dividends that the company will pay out once a year based on the company performance. So if a company is doing well, the dividend will be paid and it might go up based on the figures that they paid out last year or the year before that. And therefore, people will be willing to pay a bit more for the share to get that dividend.
Is that true? Is that really why people buy them? I thought that people bought shares in much the same way as they bet on black on a roulette table, that they will that it will go up in price and they'll be able to sell it at a profit, like doing up a house.
Yeah, that's also another way of buying and selling shares, in that you buy them today and you think in a few years' time they'll be worth much more than this, and then I'll just sell out and make a profit that way. But there is also the yearly dividends, which is also another factor in share price.
Do you do shares for a living?
Not as such. No, is the simple answer.
Right. Okay. Seemed like a yes and a no.
Yeah.
I'll take a no. Right. Okay.
Take a no, and then that way, if someone does actually do them properly, then they can come and correct me when I make a mistake.
All right.
But what was the other question he asked? Oh yeah, banks.
Banks. Yeah, that was my question. If you think too hard about banks, then you start to get really worried and you want to go and queue outside the front door now to withdraw all of your money.
Yeah. Someone once told me that banking is the same as having two people without a penny to their name writing each the other a cheque for £100.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just a transfer of money people don't have.
Yes. So I've given my money to an organisation that last year neither I nor anybody else had ever heard of.
Right.
On the assumption that they promised to give me a little bit of interest on a yearly basis.
Because what they're going to do is they're going to lend you you're going to deposit money with them and at a certain interest rate, and then they're going to go and lend it to someone else.
They're going to go buy sweets and comics.
Higher
and
interest rate, and then they'll pocket the difference between the two.
Yeah, nip down to Monte Carlo and
all of it on red or black.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they could be doing exactly that, and they could lose it all. I mean, they probably won't be going to a casino with it, but in much the same way as the shares are just betting, banks bet, don't they? I mean, it's all funny money. It's not their own money. It's money like that dopes like me have given them. And if they lose it all, oh well, never mind. So yeah, it's this intangible financial basis of our economy is something to get a little concerned about if you think about it too hard, because there's actually nothing there.
Yeah, that's right.
Worrying.
Bits of paper and numbers on a screen, like you said.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, thanks a lot, Jonathan.
All right, take care, Nick.
Cheers. Let's have Crawley. Hello, Richard.
Hi, Nick.
Richard.
This is what I phoned in about something else, but I can answer the question about shares first of all.
All right.
You're wondering why somebody phoned in and asking why companies sell shares, or an individual will suddenly decide to sell shares in his company, and he didn't understand what he gets out of it.
Well, yeah, the individual sells shares in his company in order to get more money to grow his business.
Right. I don't think anyone said that. Did anyone say that?
Well, I just assumed that we understood that.
Oh, well, okay, fair enough. Well, that was what I was going to say.
Okay.
But also, what else that he could get? The other advantage is that the person who is selling the shares in the business, i.e. the person with the idea, he will keep some for himself as well.
Yeah.
So if the share value sort of, goes up 10 times and he gets, his share goes up 10 times as well.
But if you think about it, it's like I said, this is all, we all know this, but our economy, particularly Britain's economy, is entirely based on financial services, none of which you can actually touch. It's not like a manufacturing industry where you can see a ton of steel or a box of widgets or whatever it might be. Our entire economy is just based on numbers on a screen, which could disappear just as easily as they've appeared. And to think that we're the fourth largest economy in the world, and it's all based on intangible stuff that's zeros and ones that are going through the air, I just find that a bit worrying, really.
I see what you're saying, yeah. But, it's about knowledge as well, isn't it? The knowledge economy. That's what you always hear about these days, isn't it? Not just, it's all... I mean, we don't make anything, but we sell knowledge across the world, basically.
Right. Well, that's even less tangible than numbers on a screen. You're not making me feel more comfortable, Richard.
Anyway, what I was going to talk about was, recently you've been talking a lot about the MySpace, Facebook, MySpace lark.
Right.
You don't really understand why, what all the fuss is about.
I get the idea about all that MySpace, Facebook, and the blogs and all of that internet traffic that's going on now is that it's like a new toy, and the generation that is now obsessed with all of that, with sitting in their room and typing to imaginary friends, are doing so with such great vigour because they haven't been able to do so before. It's new, and I do feel that in a not too distant future, people are going to look back and think, God, what were we doing? Wasting our lives staying in, pretending that we had 1,000 friends on my Facebook, instead of going out and actually meeting real people.
Well, I sort of, I'm a bit of a skeptic myself about MySpace and Facebook and all those, but in terms of other types of internet activity, you were basically saying that the people on MySpace and Facebook are not your friends, but I think the people who I talk to about on forums are my friends. Do you believe that?
No, I really don't believe that, because you don't. They're not friends in the sense that anybody would recognise that word. They're just their names on a screen, and they're not even their own names. You mean forums when you talk about whatever it might be, Star Trek or whatever it is?
Radio forums, personally.
Okay.
I spend quite a lot of my day, probably too much of my day at work as well, talking to people, and it is talking to people, even though it's by the
typing
computer screen.
Yeah.
And you do get to know people.
Well, I'm afraid that on that point I'm going to have to really disagree with you. You don't get to know people just by reading words that come up on a screen, because not only could they be anybody, not the person that they may have described to you, but also there's no human interaction there, and that's the key. That's that's what it is to be human, is to interact with other human beings, face to face, looking into their eyes, seeing their body language, the unspoken messages that they're giving you, and none of this you can get from even really talking on a phone, let alone typing on a screen and seeing the words that other people have typed.
But
I think friends is too strong a word.
I think one of the main advantages of it is that you can sort of take your time to compose messages, and sort of, there's probably a lot of people there's the chance of speaking to the sort of people you speak to on these forums is very slim. Otherwise, before the internet, there would be no way of, there would, for example, LBC. That's the sort of I go on a forum about LBC.
Mm.
And, you know, the chance of me being able to speak to those people about LBC as much as I've done would have been impossible before the internet.
Well, I suppose so, but you would choose your friends based on their interest in whatever interests you. So you would be sitting in a pub talking about it with, you know, whoever from work also listens to LBC. And
But, you
I
know-
just think that there's something a little... Is sinister too a strong word? There's something too mechanistic. It's not humanistic enough, and I think that we're setting ourselves up for social, not catastrophe exactly, but for definite social and psychological problems, because too many people have all of their friends on screen as opposed to communicating with other human beings, and I don't think that it's healthy.
Okay, well, we agree to disagree.
Yeah, okay. All right, thanks a lot, Richard.
Yeah.
Cheers. Yeah. What do you think about that, Helen?
I don't think it's sinister.
Well, maybe sinister is too strong. I think that, I just don't think that it's psychologically healthy to insulate yourself from the human race so that you only, or mostly, interact with other people by typing on your own in a room. I just don't think there's anything healthy about that.
No, that picture doesn't sound good.
No.
But if it's part and parcel of your life, like we get mail, don't we? So a friend might write a letter to me.
Right.
And in olden times, before there was all this technology, people did use letters to convey lots and lots of messages,
Right.
whether that was information or romance or...
And the difference between that, and I do understand what you mean, but the difference between writing letters and... do come in.
Do come in.
What a noise. He's trying to come in quietly and made the noise like you were taking the building apart. I think the difference between writing letters, as we used to, and spending time on the computer now, is that you couldn't start a letter and then 5 hours later look up and think, oh, blimey, where's the time gone? You would do it in half an hour. Whereas computers are kind of insidious in that they suck time into them, and you can literally spend all day and look up and think, oh, blimey, I haven't eaten, I haven't got out of this chair for the last 12 hours. And I think that's the big difference between that and that.
Great presenters. It's really, really good stuff.
How are you? Hi, Jean, how are you?
Hello, Nick.
Jean.
How are you?
I'm all right.
That's good. About Parky, Nick.
Yes.
I think he's quite good.
He is quite good.
He's in depth, isn't he? Quite in depth. He gets really into the nutties and crannies.
I think that used to be the case. These days it's become more and more difficult because stars aren't used to opening up on television.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Jonathan Ross, Nick,
Yeah.
I think he swears too much.
Really?
Yeah. And I think he's more like he thinks he's a star.
He is a star.
Yeah, but he sort of like, the way he acts like on the TV, like he's the main star of the show, he sort of like, he questions him in awkward ways.
Yeah, well, that's his act.
Oh, that's his act?
Yeah.
Oh, God. The X-Factor, Nick.
Yeah.
What about it? What about Alicia? She was dreadful last week.
I don't know anything about that. I've weaned myself off rubbish television. You want to do that too, Jean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, Nick.
You'll free up hours in your day.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
All right. Make a promise to yourself, all right?
Well, okay then, Nick.
Cheers, my dear.
Okay, bye.
Ta-ra. Here's Kenley. Hello, Tony.
Mate.
Tony.
She's great, isn't she?
Follow that.
She's great. No, I originally rang up to sort of go through the share thing, but I think that's been killed. So, just got to go on to what you were saying about people sitting in front of screens.
Yeah.
I'm an accountant. I've got quite a few sort of money broker clients.
Right.
And I actually went up to one yesterday, and there are just hundreds and hundreds of screens. But unlike the old days where they did have screens, but they were sort of mostly on the phone, screaming down the phone to people.
Yeah, yeah.
They were sitting there, tapping in things, and nobody was talking to each other.
Yeah.
It must be a well, apart from the salary, obviously, it must be a soul-destroying job.
I think that everything about communicating through a screen is soul-destroying. Yeah, it's we're turning ourselves into a species of robots.
Yeah, and the people, some of the people that get paid huge salaries are another analysts, and it's a guessing game. And if they get it wrong, they still don't get fired. I mean, it's just all one big gamble.
Yes, and when you think about what our economy is based on, what our future is based on, it gets kind of scary because it's not really based on anything. It's all a big bet.
In the stratosphere, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're going to go down the pan because the pressure's on people coming into the country. They're putting so much pressure on national health, everything else, and I don't believe that they've increased the economy by 6 billion. I think the Treasury have got the polarity crossed on their calculators, and it's probably minus, but that's another story. But,
it is another story, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I say, soul-destroying jobs. It's not what I originally rang up for, but I think that's probably been killed, so I'm going to have my dinner now. Thank you very much.
All right, cheers, Tony.
Cheers.
Ta-ta, enjoy. Here is Richmond. Alan.
Hello, Nick, how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
2 quick points, one on the shares and dividends and stuff, and the other one on the Facebooks and friends.
Yeah.
Part of the whole share thing is a big con anyway, it's a tax fiddle. I mean, I was actually advised to become a limited company as opposed to trading as, because for a start, what you do is you set yourself up as a limited company, you then work out how much wages per year you need to pay yourself, the very bare minimum, to actually cover yourself for your national insurance and your contributions.
Yeah.
Everything else then remains in your business bank account, right?
Right.
And you pay yourself a dividend once a year. And the bottom line is, you pay a lower tax rate on a dividend than you do on wages you pay yourself.
So, right, so that's why you read on what is, I suppose, a yearly basis, people, well, I won't name names, but major rock stars and film stars, TV people and so on, they pay themselves one lump sum per year.
Per year,
Huh.
you pay a lower rate of tax. And that's why the government were basically losing out. Initially, they thought, this is great, we'll get everybody to be limited companies, we'll be able to keep track of them, everything will be good. It's easier to keep track on you because you have to do a set of accounts to Companies House each year. You have to do, even if you don't trade as a company, you still have to do a non-trading set of accounts.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they realised that predominantly industries like IT, I mean, my brother-in-law is a limited company. Well, it's only himself. So he's got all this money, you know, sitting in a business bank account, paying a very low rate of tax.
Well,
admittedly, if you ever want to take it out in a big lump, then you pay a higher rate.
Well, can I ask you? Can I ask you a personal question about? Well, can I ask you a personal question about your brother? Did you say?
Brother-in-law.
Brother-in-law, right? How much does he earn? About?
He doesn't even bother working much now because he's in IT, and in 3 months he can earn what a normal person would earn in a year. So he just bothers working 3 months a year.
So you're not talking about millionaires who become
it works
limited
the whole way
companies.
up. Same thing.
Right.
Works the whole way up.
Are you writing this down, Helen? What a wheeze.
And on the Facebook thing, right?
Yeah.
I have had so many people that I knew from my childhood and from school sending me these stupid different web addresses like, you know, Wayne, where are you now? Like, you know what? If I really wanted you to know, I'd still be friends with you from school. I'd have left you my phone number.
Right.
I didn't even like most of them at school.
Yeah.
And I mean, just because you're talking to them on a computer, I have 3 eBay addresses, right?
Do you?
Because people, yeah, they're all legitimate, but people started knowing who I was and what I would bid on. And if they saw me bidding on it, they knew it was worth getting. So they'd start bidding on it.
Right.
So I now have 3 different eBay names and pseudonyms.
In much the same way as somebody who's bidding for a piece of art, for instance, at Christie's,
Yeah.
won't show up, they'll do it by phone.
I actually ended up having to fly to San Francisco pretending to be a non-existent person to meet somebody to buy a motorbike.
Blimey, that must have been a good bike.
Yeah, it was actually, but yeah, he thought I was a friend of his because I'd been buying stuff for like 3 years on eBay with him, and I'm thinking, you don't even know my name.
Right. It is. It's a little concerning, and I know that that maybe I'm the only person that is concerned about this. Maybe you too, but I do. I'm slightly concerned about the future of the human race. I know that seems a bit extreme, but if we are all, and we continue to be, a race that sits in front of a computer screen and communicates with our friends, in inverted commas, just through screens, and you'd have to admit that that's getting more and more the case. Certainly more than it was 5 years ago, say.
Well, yeah, I mean, people have been saying for years, ultimately, we're going to increase intellectually, and we will not need to do physical things, we won't need to do this, we won't need... People think because computers are meant to be all smart and da-di-da, they think because they can type on a computer, well, that's it, they're being intelligent. I mean, they rob you of... I spend hours on the computer, and I think afterwards I could have achieved so much in my life if I just turned that monitor off.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If you'd only checked your email once a day and you just turned the computer off, even just staring out the window is better.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. All right, thanks a lot, Alan.
No worries, catch you later.
Am I actually, am I going too far in being concerned about the future of the human race? But I don't think it is healthy. I think that we've got massive psychological problems potentially building up because people aren't interacting with each other anymore. They're typing. That's not interacting. These people are not... You don't know them. They're not your friends. You might converse with them on a daily basis in a forum or a MySpace, whatever the hell it is. But that's not actually the same as seeing somebody and talking to them, because there's so much other information you get when you see and talk to someone in person, rather than the actual words you're saying. I mean, I could say, I could type something and say it, and it might be the same words, but the meaning that you get could be completely the opposite if you'd read it or heard it.
Well, it depends.
You know, I mean, I could write, that's good, but I could say, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And it's totally different.
Yeah,
right?
you don't get the tone, but you don't get that in business emails as well, do you?
In any kind of email,
yeah.
no.
Or letters, you don't get that.
Well, I suppose you could change the ink. You could start writing in red.
Well, you can change the ink on computers.
That's true, yeah.
But I think your image of a lone man or a lone woman sitting in a...
Mostly man, I think.
Man, sitting in a one-bedroom apartment, never going out, there's nothing in the fridge. I mean, that seems to be your image. I don't think most people use it like that. Most people do those other things as well.
Hang on, you just described my life. Have you been spying on me?
Surely there's a jar of mayonnaise in the fridge, which you eat with a spoon.
My girlfriend did say I have a boy fridge, because it had some milk in it.
Yeah.
And I think there was a bottle of beer buried somewhere at the bottom.
Do you smell the milk before you use it?
Right.
Well, everyone smells milk.
Well, no, not in your own fridge, surely.
Yeah.
Not since you stopped being a student.
No, everyone does it. People still do it. It's
Really?
habit. Yeah.
I do it at work, but not in my own fridge. I'm fairly confident that the milk in my own fridge is fresh.
Mm.
No, I mean, when you were a student, you'd open the door and there'd be a sausage on a plate, a cooked sausage on a plate, and 6 pints of milk, each of which would have someone's initials on them. And you'd be out of your own milk, and so you'd sniff everybody else's, just to see, what you could get. But no, not as a grown-up. Stop sniffing your milk.
I think people still do that. I think you've done it. When you've been away for a weekend, you've got a pint of milk, and I bet the first thing you've done is sniffed that milk. It's just habit, reflex action.
Well, I'm glad that you said that, because I can't remember the last time I was away for a weekend. I work every day.
Oh.
Shut up. Do you think he'll be there if we go now?
Don't know. Gonna ask him.
Well, no, let's just chit-chat some more, shall we? It's not quite enough time to take another call. But,
I would prefer men...
little too long to have complete silence. Go on.
Okay, I would prefer men to sit at home in front of a pewter, talking to other men with nothing in their fridge, than men bombing countries that can't even defend themselves.
Well, it's an either-or, is it?
Absolutely. I would prefer...
Quite extreme.
It is totally extreme, but I would
Where did
prefer
that come from?
people to do that than to go out and, I don't know, just be violent to each other.
Right. But that's part of the human condition. You have to accept that violence is part of the human condition, and it's in you, and it's going to come out one way or another.
Not if you're sitting for 5 hours every day behind a computer.
Exhausted, yeah.
Shattered. Because you're talking to your mates on Facebook and MySpace and
But you have to admit that there's something about the computer that is not. Perhaps you could lose time with a great book. Perhaps it's so long since I've read one that I can't remember. Or doing a crossword. Often, if I'm doing the large Telegraph crossword, I'll sit down and an hour and a half later I'll look up, and I've still got one. Look, I've got one answer. Yeah. But at least I think that's healthier than having your life sucked into a blinking computer screen. Because they do tend to bend time, and that's an actual fact. I thought you were going to say something. Your mouth opened like a goldfish.
I was thinking about you in television.
Yes, but you are aware of the passage of time with television because there's points in television that show you what time it is, whereas the computer screen, there is no the program doesn't end in half an hour. You'll look up and it's 3 o'clock in the morning.
I've got a totally random question to ask you.
Well, hold that thought, because we have to go away to come back. It's 8:45. Here's Travel with Amanda Redmond.
Thanks very much. Next to
Abbott.
Well, let's get back to it.
Electric Parade, Oh Tallulah.
Hey, you, Nick.
Hey, you.
Oh, I have a totally different story to MySpace.
You have a what now?
I have a totally different story to MySpace.
A totally different story to MySpace.
Yeah, I hope your mouth will go open and stay open, like those guys who can't believe what they hear.
Okay, I'll practice that as you speak.
Well, because of MySpace, I had about 15 interviews in America in the last 8 weeks.
About what?
About the music.
Right, because you're in a band, yeah.
Because I'm in a band, I've got my Project Schenker sister, and someone on the internet saw my page, got very interested in me, and read my interview that I wrote for a book.
Right.
And thought this girl needs help. And she is a director for internet radio programming.
Right.
So he picked me up, asked me, do you want to do this? And I said yes. So I had, as I said, 15 interviews in about 8 weeks. I've to be found on about 5 to 8 podcasts, which are there all the time. So all the interviews can be heard all the time. But now, since a year, I've got a boyfriend because of MySpace, because he knocked on my door, and I met...
How did he know where you lived?
On my MySpace door.
Oh, he knocked on your MySpace door?
Yes.
Right.
Basically said, oh, I think you're cool.
Yeah.
And I met him for the first time in September.
Yeah.
Real. I went to San Francisco to meet him.
Wow.
We are like twins.
Huh.
My brother got to meet him because he played at the same time, and he said...
Right, in case you don't know, Tallulah's brother is actual real-life rock god Michael Schenker.
Yeah, and Rudolf Schenker, who I will have an interview in the beginning of December via the same internet connection.
Right.
So it will be a first of me and my big brother on a conference call interview.
So what you're saying is that that MySpace is not an end in itself. It's a tool in order to meet new people superficially and then in person.
Yes, because in fact, in my case, the doors totally opened. My life has completely changed. And now comes the last thing.
Yeah.
I spent the weekend in Germany. I started in Düsseldorf and then toured with 2 bands who met on MySpace, built a tour together, met for the first time, and I joined them in Düsseldorf, which includes my boyfriend. So I spent a weekend with those 2 bands, my boyfriend, total Spinal Tap because it's punk rock, and it was just, I didn't wash for 3-4 days because it was just tour, and ended in Berlin, and all because of MySpace.
Huh. Well, everything that I said before, I take back. Don't listen to me. I've got no idea what I'm talking about.
In this case, well, yeah. It is a true story, and I think, thinking about myself, I think it's rock and roll, and it's so brilliant.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, that's a good story. Thanks a lot, Tallulah.
Cool, bye.
Keep rocking on, all right.
Bye.
I suppose in much the same way that people used to put adverts in newspapers. I think they probably still do, don't they? People who haven't got access to the World Wide Web. So it's just a more user-friendly version of that.
It is good for shy people.
Yeah. Well, yes and no. It is good for shy people because they don't have to actually come into contact and look people in the eye and so on. But then it's not in the long run doing them any favours because they don't get any practice about getting in contact with people and looking people in the eye and so on.
It's also good for if you're housebound, you can
well, that's very true.
You can order anything pretty much, can't you?
Pizza.
Oh, do you want some pizza?
Oh, that would be great. We should order pizza one time.
We should. Hey, let's go crazy.
North Circular. Hello, Mandeep.
Hi, Nick. Well, last couple of comments have sort of stolen my thunder.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhat. I mean, all I was going to say was all this internet chatting and MySpace and whatnot is not all bad, as you suggested towards the beginning of this topic. But I mean, it gives a chance to people to sort of explore their ideas with other people, like-minded people. It gives them a chance to take that first step for people who are a little shy, or maybe people who can't get out and about as much,
right.
Working long hours and things like that. But having said that, I agree with you that it's absolutely no substitute for
the real thing.
For the real thing. I mean, I'm an IT person. I work for a multinational company. And most of the time, or my conversation or my interaction with people across the world is via email, via chat, and not everyone has the same sense of humor, cultural differences, and things like that. So you don't get the personality across in an email,
right?
Which you would do if you met them.
Yeah, exactly.
So, right, and I agree with that. But I don't think it's all bad. It's like most other things. If you take it in a balance, then I think it's a good thing. But it's obviously not healthy to just rely totally on this.
Yeah, I suppose that's where I was coming from. That I do get this feeling that that a significant proportion of the people in this society do get the majority of their socialising done on screen. I think that's sort of the way that society is going, and I don't think that is healthy. But, like you say, everything in moderation, right?
Right, absolutely, and I think what's worrying is the younger generation now is getting hooked onto this and is relying almost completely on this type of interaction, which is not good.
Yeah,
I mean, it's good to get the kids out and about, improve their
social skills,
social skills, and that prepares them a lot for when they grow up and face the real world.
Well, it's essential. You're right.
Absolutely, and which is what doesn't happen if you sit in front of a computer screen, like you say.
Right.
But
and there's no doubt about it. You hit on a truth there. It is as addictive as the strongest drug.
Absolutely. Oh, very much so. And being an IT person, I'm sitting in front of a screen all the time, and I make it a point not to go on these chat lines.
Right.
I mean, occasionally I will go on to all these friendship networks.
Every now and again, you can't help yourself.
Well, the good thing that's come out of this for me is getting in touch with some of the old school friends, who I'd lost touch with. And I think one of your previous callers said, I don't want to get in touch with any of these friends. but it's a mixed opinion. If you don't want to, don't reply. But it helps people like me who I worked in America for a little while and had lost touch with a lot of folks. And I came back, got in touch with some of them. I only got in touch with the people I liked.
Right.
But it helped me to do that. So I think, like you said, in moderation.
Everything in moderation. All right. Thanks very much, Mandeep.
All right.
Cheers, mate. This is LBC.
Listen to... Come on.
West Midlands, Marion.
Hello again, Nick.
Hey, Marion.
Hi, you've touched on a subject I feel very strongly about. That's why I'm ringing back again.
Oh, have we spoken on this show already?
Yeah, I spoke to you earlier.
No.
Getting a divorce.
Okay. Well, I'll make an exception just for you. Normally it's only one call per show, but go on.
Oh, is it? Oh, I didn't know that.
That's all right.
Sorry.
I'll send you the rules in the post, all right?
Okay, yeah, thanks very much. I just wanted to talk about the internet and sort of the amount people use it.
Yeah.
For me, it's been a complete lifeline to me, the internet. I've suffered from very bad postnatal depression for the last over 2 years, and I found a website which is www.pni.org.uk, which is basically a support forum for women and their partners who suffer from postnatal illness.
Marion, if I'm the kind of person that if I read that website, I would convince myself that I had that.
It's not like that at all. It's for women who have any sort of problem, can go on there and talk to other women who are suffering the same sort of thing.
But every now and again I will dial up the net and, I've got a twinge there, I'll see what that is. And then I realise that I've actually got dengue fever or, something like that.
It's people who have been diagnosed with the illness and have seen the doctors or as like myself has been in hospital with it.
But for stuff like that, for medical things, for anything, for gathering any kind of information, it's hard to understand what we used to do before the internet. You'd rely on libraries.
It is. I mean, like, support groups don't sort of exist for, like, seeing people face to face. You have to go online and talk to people from other countries and around the world. So for me, it has been an absolute lifeline, and the website in question has been absolutely fantastic for me.
Okay, go ahead and tell us what it is again.
It's www.pni.org.uk.
All right.
And next May they've got a PNI awareness weekend. So I'll probably phone up again and try and plug that a bit closer.
Yeah, okay, good for you. All right, thanks a lot, Marion.
All right, thanks, Nick.
Ta-da.
Thanks. Bye.
This is LBC. I'm Nick Abbott. We'll talk about things other than the internet, whatever you like. I mean, as I said at the beginning of the programme, I looked through the papers today, and there was just 2 topics that dominated virtually every page of every paper: Northern Rock and those bloomin' discs. I don't really want to talk about either of them anymore, so it's totally up to you tonight. 0845 6060 973.
Now, ta-te-tee-to-too. Ta-te-tee-to-too.
Close. No cigar. Right, the newspapers were... Well, you can tell it's a slow news day because they're still going on about Northern Rock, which is so boring. And those 2 discs. Oh, please, is there nothing else? Oh, Amy Winehouse looked like she'd powdered her nose. What a horrible picture that is. Every so often you'll see somebody with what looks like white... What's a nice word for it?
Mucus.
That's not a nice word. It's a horrible word.
There is no nice word.
No, there isn't actually, is there? And there's a helpful... What's this? This is the standard. Amy Winehouse with what looks like white... things in her nose, and there's a helpful arrow which points up her nose.
How about globules?
Yeah, all right. White globule poking out of her nose like a bogey. Not too bright, really, is she? I mean, assuming that it's what we think it is, you'd think she'd check in the mirror before she came out. Not a bright girl, you'd have to say. She can sing, but she's just a bit on the thick side. Don't you think, Philip?
Well, I must admit, I only heard her sing once, so it didn't really make an impression on me.
Right. She sort of mumbles. She has an excellent jazz mumble.
What famous singer would you say that she sings like, Nick? I'm thinking about, from years ago. What's the nearest, that you think she sings like?
Well, she really is. She sounds like a black jazz singer of the old school.
Right. Sort of. I'm trying to think of. Who was that singer that used to come to London quite regularly? Oh, no, it's is it Nina Simone, something like that?
Well, all the old jazz singers used to sing quite clearly.
Yeah.
Amy Winehouse has a slur, whether she's drunk or not, which actually sounds very attractive.
Peggy Lee? Peggy Lee?
No, too precise a delivery, I think, Peggy Lee.
I saw a singer's name the other day that struck a bell. I don't know if it's the same person. An American singer called Abby Lincoln.
I don't know that.
Yeah, she was in London. She was singing way back in the 50s, I remember seeing her. She was in the film The Girl Can't Help It. That's the only reason I remembered her. The reason I rang Nick,
yes,
a couple of completely different subjects.
Good for
Christmas trees and Billy Ray Cyrus.
Yeah, all right. Christmas trees. I'm very much looking forward to getting a Christmas tree. What is the earliest point at which it's not sad to buy a Christmas tree?
Yeah, I don't know. As I say, it's, people I go to have one, and...
What, already?
No, not already, but at Christmas time, so I just wondered, whether you'd ordered yours, but...
No, well, I've seen one, the gym that I go to has just put up a sad little Christmas tree, and they've just put fake presents underneath it, but it seems too early.
It does. The reason I rung about Christmas trees, they've had some trouble in Hawaii. They just had the first arrival of the 150,000 Christmas trees that they have brought in from the mainland.
Wow.
And all these Christmas trees they found, the first arrivals, have all got yellow jackets.
What does that mean?
Well, yellow jackets are wasps.
Oh, yeah, I think I've read about that.
Predatory wasps.
Huh.
And the trouble, of course, is that they're not used on the island, but those that have got there, they destroy other, other flowers and such like that. And they can't grow Christmas trees on Hawaii successfully.
Well, it's too warm, obviously.
Well, that's right, yeah, that is it, exactly. So, because
hit the nail right on the head.
Yeah.
You believe I got something right?
So watch out for predatory wasps.
Yes.
Also,
and I did hear that because of the warm summer or the dry summer or the wet summer or some sort of problem, that we were going to have problems getting Christmas trees in this country. They're going to be more expensive and harder to get hold of. I'm thinking of doing 2 Christmas trees. Does this sound insane?
Well, one in each room?
No, to get one early.
Yes.
Like at the very beginning of December. You can put them up at the beginning of December, can't you?
Put them up whenever you want them,
Yeah, but I don't want to be a loony.
Oh, well, no, I mean, it's where you live. If you want to put a Christmas tree up, put it up.
Very nice of you, Philip. All right, I will. Yeah. I'm going to put one up at the very beginning of December, but you see, by the 25th, no matter what kind of tree you get, it's going to look a bit sad. It's going to be drooping, right?
Yeah.
So I thought this year, I'll get one at the beginning of December.
Yes.
And then about 2 weeks in, I'll throw it out and get a new one.
That's an idea.
Isn't it? Because by Christmas, on Christmas Day, it will be pert and, juicy.
You can recycle them, I believe, these days.
Oh, never mind about that.
Oh, right. Okay. Anyway, what you want to do is take a picture of it, put it on the website, because I want to have your Christmas tree then.
No.
Give us all a chance to have a look at your Christmas tree.
Well, which one? The first one or the second one? Right, you could compare the two. But does that sound crazy? I mean,
no.
Right, okay.
No, Christmas trees, I mean, the one in Croydon for years has been an electric one. Oh, dreadful thing.
What do you mean?
Oh, well, they've had this Christmas tree in the middle of the road at the junction of George Street and Wellesley Road, and they put it up every Christmas to council, and it's an electric one, it's made out of metal, and, it's horrible.
Oh, it's a fake tree?
Fake tree, yeah. Oh, dear,
Well, they're no good.
I know they're not. This one, I hope they don't put it up this year. Oh, dear.
The one that they put in Trafalgar Square, which comes from Norway, right?
Oh, yeah, that's good, yeah.
Well, is it? Every year they say, it's the biggest tree what we've ever seen, and you go into Trafalgar Square and you take a peek at it and you think, well, it's okay.
I think it's sort of the atmosphere, isn't it, really?
Maybe they don't like us that much anymore.
No, maybe they've gone off us. Billy Ray Cyrus.
Right,
Billy was the guy who had the hit record Achy Breaky Heart.
Oh, that's such a great record.
Yeah, I love the version by Weirdo Yankovic. He's got a new record in the top 40 country charts in America.
I bet he does.
Called Ready, Set, Don't Go.
Huh.
And the reason it was interesting, because I believe he's been on this dancing program. Wasn't he on with Heather Mills on the American version of Strictly Come Dancing?
Billy Ray Cyrus?
Yeah.
Was he dancing with his thumbs in his belt?
I don't know whether he danced with Heather or not, but, because, I don't know whether maybe if she could do a duet with Paul, Achy Breaky Heart.
Please. And
sorry.
Dancing would be better.
It's funny talking about the charts. Today, I bought my copy of my favourite paper, and on the back, they've got 10 record charts, Nick.
What, you mean useless today?
Yeah, it's got all the pop charts. It's got top 40, rhythmic, urban, country, Christian, urban, AC, hot AC, alternative, active rock, adult rock, and smooth jazz. Which number one do you want?
Christian.
Christian, hang on.
What's it called?
Hang on, I can't find it again now. I was reading it out. Christian. I've lost the Christians. Hang on. Can't find... Oh, here we are, yes. Christian. Number 1 is Amazing Grace.
Oh, well, it would be.
By Chris Tomlin.
Oh, he's very good.
Yes. What are you, active rock or adult rock or what, Nick?
There's no kind of music that I don't like.
No.
What's active rock?
I don't know. It's the Foo Fighters.
Oh, right. Loud music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Pretender by the Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
Rock and roll! Yeah, yeah. On adult rock, it's number 1.
Wait a minute, let me guess. The Eagles.
No, it's David Gray. You're the world to me.
Oh, he's great.
Correction on active rock. Sorry, number 1 is Seether by Fake It. Or is it, no, sorry, Fake It by Seether.
Feeder, yeah.
Sorry.
Close.
It's, as I say, it's got Urban. What's Urban? Urban AC.
Urban is hippie hop music.
Oh, Alicia Keys.
Yeah.
No one.
Right.
AC is Daltrey with a home.
No, never heard of it.
No.
Unless they mean Roger.
The top 40 is, number 1 is Timbaland and One Republic with a song called Apologise.
Right, that's like, that's hippie hop music with the corners planed off it.
Hippie hip hop.
Like that.
Rhythmic is Chris Brown, F, and Payne.
What's rhythmic if it's not urban?
I know.
They break these things down into too many different categories. Why can't there just be one chart? That's all you need. Which is the most popular?
Plug everything in together.
Yeah.
Country is Kenny Chesney, good singer, with a song called Don't Blink.
Country is about the only format that doesn't have a hope in hell of succeeding in this country.
It's funny because in this country, occasionally a song will get into the charts that is country orientated, as with Billy Ray and Achy Breaky Heart.
Well, Achy Breaky Heart, surely no one in this country bought that. That was awful.
Well, yeah, I mean, it got into the... I don't know how high it got into the charts, but...
I don't believe anyone in this country bought Achy Breaky Heart. That's one of the worst songs that's ever been made.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, have you heard the Weird Al Yankovic version?
No.
Oh, it's really funny, because you know what he's like.
Yeah.
With these things. They've done a survey.
What does he rhyme heart with? Don't tell me.
Hold on, it's funny. I've actually got a copy of it.
I hope it's not what I'm thinking.
I can't think of, because it's to say, you just sort of have a laugh with him.
Right. Can you think of anything that rhymes with heart there, Helen?
Start.
Okay.
Part.
Yeah. Start. Part. Yes. We could go through the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Tart.
And I can't think of anything else.
They've done a survey, Nick. I don't know if you've got time for it, on Thanksgiving, because it's Thanksgiving coming up this weekend in America.
Right, and that's they say thank you for the bountiful harvest.
Have you ever been there for Thanksgiving?
No.
I was there one year, and turkey, and it's very nice. Enjoyed it very much.
Yeah.
They've done a survey.
Is it actually Thanksgiving today?
No, it is today, is it? I thought it was the end of the week, because they were sort of make it into a holiday.
Oh, it's just that I had turkey today as well.
Oh, so you celebrated early.
Well, I had no idea.
They've done a survey, Nick, I know you're running out of time for the traffic, but they've done a survey. What adults dread most about the holiday? 26% said the fear of putting on weight.
Right.
19% said the hassle of cooking.
Yeah, anything about the relatives?
Yeah, that's, yes, that's coming up. 17% travelling, 9% the expense, and 6% too much family time.
Yeah, families.
Oh, no.
Exactly, yeah. We've got that to look forward to at Christmas.
Yes, with all the people you haven't seen for years.
Yeah, hip hip hooray.
They bring a present to their mum.
Haven't you grown?
Yeah.
All right, thanks a lot,
Okay,
Philip.
Nick.
Good job, as always. 9:15. Here's Travel Now with Alan Joyce.
Amanda Redman, indeed. Let's have a look at the tubes.
Nick Abbott. Here we go.
Have you ever heard of somebody who does that, though, has two Christmas trees? Because I did think that this is for some reason, I don't know why, I'm looking forward to Christmas this year. I mean, in years gone by, ever since I was a child, I wasn't really... Could you make a little more noise as you're typing? Pounding those buttons, you are. But for some reason, I'm looking forward to it this year. Can't wait to get my baubles out, Helen.
Fantastic. Got a bit of tinsel as well?
No. That's common and cheap.
Fairy?
Excuse me?
Is there going to be a fairy on the top?
No.
Can't you just wait for the tree?
Yeah, but if you wait... You see, the problem with December is... Well, this is also the problem with the January and February, and March, and April. It's not only cold, but it's grey.
Miserable.
And miserable, that's right. The glory of autumn where it's, you know, full of colour, has gone. Although, I saw some blossom on a tree. But I talked about that the other day. Forever referring back.
Did you bore yourself then?
A little bit, yeah. To hell with that. That's nature gone crazy.
I think your two-tree trick is a bit over the top. It's a bit self-indulgent.
Well...
Is that what you want me to say?
But I'm worth it.
It's a tad excessive in this day of saving the planet.
Shut up. They've cut it down already.
How many feet will it be?
Oh, 6, at least.
What, and you're going to get 2 of them?
Not at the same time, one after the other.
In 2-week gaps.
Yeah, because if you get one now, like, I can't wait to put it up. I feel like a child again. This is just crazy, and I don't know why it's happened this year. But maybe it's compensating for the terrible summer that we've had, because there was nothing to enjoy over the summer, and there'll be precious little to enjoy for the next 4 or 5 months, because it's going to be grey and cold, and they keep telling us it's going to be a freezing cold winter. Apparently swans have come in in massive numbers from Siberia, which is where they hang out, apparently, do their little swan things. And they've come down here now, implying that it's going to be a dreadfully cold winter, which is what we've been told all along from all these hexperts, that's what we're looking forward to. And so, I don't know, maybe that's what I'm compensating for, and I want to get my tree up straight away. Now, I think November is too early. That's shop stuff, that is. So, the 1st of December, I want to stick one up, but come the 25th, it will look sad and droopy. And that's not what you want at Christmas. You want it to be fresh and plump and pert.
I don't mean to sound critical, but I think putting it up at the beginning of December is a little bit too long, and having 2 Christmas trees is self-indulgent.
Right, well, I don't care about the self-indulgent part, because I'm sorry if this sounds selfish, but it's me, me, me.
I know it's you. But are you seriously going to take all the baubles off?
Well, I thought about that. It will be a whole day, but then you can enjoy it for the next 3 weeks.
I can't think of anything I'd more hate to do. Should I say those words in the right order?
Well, you've got your message across.
Oh.
Do you enjoy the actual decoration part?
No.
So you'll have to do that again. You'll have to dismantle and put them all up again.
Right. You make a strong case.
Yeah, you're giving yourself twice the work.
Yes. What if I don't actually do any of the work?
That's slightly lazy.
It's lazy and self-indulgent. You've got me down to a T. What does that mean, by the way, down to a T?
Is it a golfing term?
That would be my first thought, but then I can't think of what that might mean. Down to a T. What does that mean? Hey, anybody know? What does down to a T mean? 0845 6060 973. Down to a T. I can't think of what that might mean. Or anything else, indeed. I'm not going to throw the newspapers out at you today, because they were so very boring, talking about Northern Rock and those 2 discs. That's all they had to say today. So whatever's on your mind, 0845 6060 973. Catford, Trixie.
Hello, I was just searching up down to a T for you on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I don't think I can find it.
All right, somebody else will know.
Nothing's come up.
Oh, well.
Well, the only reason I think you want to put Christmas trees up is that something nice is happening in your life.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're not telling us.
It's, huh? No, it's something colourful to look at, that's it.
Also something nice is happening, and there's something that's made you bright and light and happy.
Yeah, Christmas.
No, I think there's something more, but we don't have to go into that.
I don't know what you're talking about. If only.
If only. All right. To get back to what's happening now, down to a T, down to a Trixie. I think it's something to do with a golf term, possibly.
Well, yeah, we thought about that, but I can't think why. Why would it be... Anyway, someone will know. Don't worry.
So, you have a choice. We can talk about something about hypochondria.
Hypochondria, yeah.
A friend of mine called me up today and told me that her brain had shrunk, and she's now about 10 or 15 years older.
Yeah, I probably have that too.
Yeah, that's because she drank a lot, and she's had the results of her CT scan.
And her brain's shrunk?
Yep. She's about our age.
And it actually shrank?
Mm-hmm.
From booze?
Yep.
Blimey.
Yep.
I wonder...
There you are.
I wonder how Carol's doing.
What?
No, seriously.
Okay. I do have that then. That explains a lot, as a matter of fact.
Go and get a CT scan.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can talk about quotations. I save quotations, actually, on the internet. And I can pick a few interesting quotations, and we can talk about those. You know, trying to find something interesting.
Quotations?
Or we can talk about more health things. Up to you.
A CT scan, is that the way you lie on a tray and they stick you into a great tube, the machine that goes bang, 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 bang?
She says that for the head one, it's a little circle.
Right.
And they just put it around your head, that's it.
Because I had that. I had one of those, because I had Bell's palsy twice, so they stuck me in one of these machines to see if there was anything wrong with my vein. Yeah.
Well, yes, they might be able to tell you whether you've got half a brain or not. You never know.
Well, this kindly consultant who, when I told a doctor friend of mine his name, gasped with reverence. Apparently, this guy's a proper genius. He said to me with a smiling face as he was pointing to the chart of my brain. He said, "This, and this shows that you've got multiple sclerosis."
Really?
And I said, "Oh, well, that's not very good, is it?" And then about a week later, his secretary called me up and said, "Oh, no, sorry about that. You haven't."
Oh dear.
Good grief.
Oh my gosh. No. There was this friend. She had the CT scan done ages ago, but the hospital lost it, and it's only just been found. And
ever since, I thought, well, do I? And they're just trying to make me feel better because there's nothing they could do.
Do you have any problems with your mobility?
Yes, I have that, yes.
Right, okay. So in that...
You name it, I've got it.
Oh, bless.
Hypochondria is actually very bad for you.
Well, yes, maybe you've got hypochondria.
Yeah.
Maybe you're a hypochondriac. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm going to die of hypochondria.
Yes, exactly.
1 in 5 people worry constantly about their health, with concerns about cancer, heart disease and obesity topping the list, it says here. Health concerns even surpass fears about climate change or terrorist attack, according to Bupa's 2007 Worry Report. Yes. Well, that sounds like excellent reading. The Worry Report. I can't wait to get my hands on that. Doctors believe that increased public awareness about illness is fueling health worries. However, they warn that constant fussing eventually creates health problems of its own.
There you go.
See?
And if you live to be 100, you've got it made.
I can tell you how to live to be 100, as a matter of fact. I've been carrying these instructions around for a little while now. But I don't have time right now because we're going to go into the news in a minute. So I'll just finish this thing about hypochondria, all right?
Oh, all right, then.
You're probably hypochondriacal too. Am I right?
Well, I do have various things wrong.
It's a yes.
We're both. No, I'm not anymore. Not since I've actually got things wrong with me.
Right. Okay.
So, but I'm quite happy to discuss it and then diagnose you if you like.
It says here that if you are experiencing frequent sleepless nights, loss of appetite, reduced interest in sex, or returning to alcohol to forget your problems, your worrying could spiral out of control.
We know what the thing is at the moment for me. I mean, as much as I'd like the full word, I can't have it at the moment. But you can play me the song.
It would therefore be sensible to make an appointment with your GP, that is if you're worried about nothing at all. More than 1 in 2 people worry more now than they did 5 years ago. 19% worry all the time. The report, and every single thing that's wrong with me is like, I think, because I've got a spot on my face right there. Yeah. Can you see it? You could see it from space, right? Yeah. And I thought, that's skin cancer.
You silly thing. You see,
That was my first thought.
I don't worry so much now. I mean, I just read about things and I think, okay, now I understand what I've got. Now I've got to learn to live with it, sort of thing. So that's okay.
Regular exercise, confiding in friends, a balanced diet and avoiding caffeine were all recommended by Bupa as ways to combat anxiety and stress.
Yes.
And not getting in a car in the west of London as well. That'll do it for you.
And by the way, may I just say that your nickabbott.com forum has, from reading it, led to friendships, because sometimes people go over to the States and they meet other people, fans of yours. And so
get to interface with
apparently does lead to friendships. No, I don't think they're those kinds of friendships.
Well,
so
they can only dream. All right, thanks a lot, Trixie.
Thanks.
Excuse me,
Bye.
ta-ra. That, by the way, is not my website. It's a site about me, in much the same way as now I can't think of one.
I can't.
You know, it's
You don't do it, though.
no. They asked me a long time ago, can we use your name, nickabbot.com? And this was long before anybody had their own website. I said, yeah, sure, why not? 'Cause I didn't care. I didn't even have a computer at the time. I had no idea where these sort of things might go. And so they use it. But people think that I run my own fan website, but no, I don't. No.
I'll have to have a look.
Take a quick peek, yes.
Yeah, I will.
Sometimes I look up myself.
Is it good?
Is what good?
Looking up yourself?
Well, I think we just better leave that there, don't you think?
Hello, boys.
Hello, John.
Hello. Good evening to you.
John.
Right, I've got a question to ask you, Nick. It might sound daft, but it's from an advert which I was listening to. Now, these so-called experts want us not to use carbon or have anything to do with carbon, right?
Carbon.
That's right. As in, you know, for greenhouse effects and things like that.
Right, reduce your carbon footprint, yeah.
That's right. But surely to goodness, all animals and humans have got come from carbon.
Yeah, we're carbon-based life forms, yeah.
Yeah. So does that mean that we all have to kill each other and basically get rid of the earth of all human and animal?
Well, it would help, John. You could make a start.
All right, who with?
We'll construct a list, and I'll pop it in the post, all right?
Right.
Cheers, John. Ta-da.
Bye.
Let's start with all DJs. Hey! Plasto. Hello, Carol.
Hi, sweetie.
Carol.
Yes, darling. How are you?
I'm all right.
You know you've done about your Christmas trees?
Yeah, what do you think about that? Is that crazy to have two, one after the other?
A little bit daft, but I can give you a really good tip if you're interested.
Go on, then.
When we used to have our Christmas trees in the Sergeant's Mess, what we used to do was, because they were real, you know, like real Christmas trees, we used to get given them as gifts.
Can I just ask you, Carol, are we on speakerphone?
Yeah.
Oh, could you take me off speakerphone?
I'm not now.
Oh, much better.
Sorry, sweetie.
So much better. Right, you used to be in a... Right, you're in a sergeant's mess, is that what you said?
I used to be in the military.
Right.
And what we used to do was that we'd get our Christmas trees, you know, like given to us as a gift to put in the sergeant's mess and in the naffy and the corporal's mess and everything like that.
Right.
But like you said, after a while they go a bit
droopy.
Yeah, lose all the needles and the bits and pieces. This is before all these new fandangled optic fibres crappy things come in.
Right.
A tip for you: if you want to get, you still want to get a proper Christmas tree, a live Christmas tree, get some hairspray that is unperfumed and spray your Christmas tree, and you'll get double the life form out of it.
Really?
Seriously? Yeah.
Hairspray?
Yeah, but it's got to be unperfumed.
You'd have to have a lot of it.
No, you don't need a decent size. I can't give you the brand name, can I?
No.
No, it's...
Any kind of hairspray that's not got perfume
yeah,
in it. But you'd need
that's not got perfume in, because that would be flammable otherwise.
Right. Oh, yeah, I suppose so.
No, but seriously, if you spray it, you last twice as long.
Okay. But it wouldn't stop the droop, though, would it?
Yeah, it would, because it'd keep the pine needles on, because it's like, you know, like when you have spray lacquer, you know, like when you're varnishing furniture?
Yeah.
And you use spray lacquer?
Right.
Well, hairspray is a reduced form of, well, it's lacquer, really, if you think about it. It's hair lacquer, isn't it? Hairspray.
Right. Okay, I'm not entirely sure about that.
No, seriously, it goes on its... I tell you what, give it a finger, get a small one.
Yeah.
Before Christmas, a little real one. You know, get a small tin of... God's honest truth, even Philip the Anorak should know that.
Okay.
No, but seriously, spray it and you see what happens.
Right. All right, I'll definitely think about that.
And put it up first week in December like I do with all my decks.
So, are you not in the military anymore?
No. Oh, I wish I was.
Really?
Oh, seriously, yeah. God, I hate the streets.
Really?
Yeah, honest to God, it's not the same. It's not the same.
Right. Well, what do you miss? What do you miss, though? All the killing?
No, I'll give over. It's the camaraderie. It's the I don't know. You don't get offended in civvy. If there's any military personnel listening, seriously, this would be an excellent topic at the moment because of what's going on, of how the military... I mean, this is not that I'm trying to have a pop at anybody, but how the military are being treated at the moment.
Yeah.
I will guarantee, if anybody's listening that is in the military and they ring in, they will tell you for definitely that in Civvy Street it is totally, totally different from when you're in the military. You don't get the camaraderie, you don't get the, like, your mates, like you... I mean, when you're in the military, your mates are your mates for life.
Well, I suppose the difference is that in Civvy Street, everybody is working for the benefit of themselves, whereas in the army, the nature of the thing is that you're all pulling together as a team, right?
Yeah, yeah. And then, I mean, when I first... See, I don't want to get on a soapbox, but when I first joined up, in the military, you had to be of a certain height, a certain intelligence. You had to pass a written test. I mean, the job I went into, I was Royal Corps of Transport. You had to go through a mechanical test and everything.
Well, don't they still have all that?
No.
What?
No. Now, seriously, honest to God, Nick, you can be 5'2", as thick as I don't know what, as long as you're capable of doing the job. But at one time, the men had to be, I think it was something like 5'6", 5'7".
Well, presumably it's because of no one wants to join up anymore, with good reason, because you read on a daily basis how dreadfully they're being treated, and they're going over there with insufficient bullets, for crying out loud.
This has been going on for yonks. I mean, the military that are coming out now. I mean, people used to go in and sign up for 3 years, and then a year after they'd sign on for 22 because it was that good.
Right.
Now they're battling to get out.
Yeah, that's true enough, yeah.
No, seriously.
All right, well, thanks very much, Carol.
You're more than welcome.
Cheers.
Brilliant show. Thank
Ta-da.
you, darling. Bye.
Yeah, it says here, almost half of Britain's forces are unfit to be sent on operations because of equipment shortages, the Ministry of Defence has admitted. And it's right enough, barely a day goes by without some sort of shocking report about they don't have enough armoured vehicles, or their boots are melting, or their radios don't work, or they do actually run out of bullets. I mean, can you believe such a thing? And that happened because somebody in the Ministry of Defence forgot to order them bullets. There are only 6 Challenger 2 tanks available for training in the UK and Germany because others have been cannibalised to provide spares for Iraq. Basically, we've stretched ourselves to the point where we cannot cope anymore. The evidence of forces overstretched in the MOD's performance report is another damaging blow after the sudden departure of Lord Drayson, the procurement minister. He quit this month after a stand-up row with Des Brown, the Defence Secretary, over the defence budget. According to the report, 42% of UK forces faced critical or serious weaknesses in their ability to be ready to deploy. 42%. And 35% stated they could not even be certain of meeting their basic peacetime requirements. Which is just... I mean, what do we do in peacetime? Nothing at all, right?
Just go to the cafe.
Well, I suppose so, yeah. Spray your tree. The extent of the shortages was highlighted last week when Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Tootle, 42, who led the British paratroopers in Afghanistan last year, resigned, complaining that troops were poorly treated and under-equipped. And it's like I say, hardly a day goes by when somebody else who's actually had experience of this doesn't either resign or complain or make their opinion felt in the press. And the Ministry of Defence, on a regular basis, you can set your watch by them, they'll say, "Oh, no, it isn't. Our statistics prove that we're doing a better job for our troops," and blah, blah, blah. At one point during the height of the fighting, Tootle's men were down to the last 1,000 rounds of ammunition because the MOD had failed to order enough. That's just staggering, isn't it? Sorry about that. Yes, no, well, we haven't got any more bullets for you. They're in the post. They'll be here shortly, if you can just stay at the front. Amazing. No wonder that there's army shortages. People aren't joining up for the very good reason that they don't care about you. Go and join, a supermarket. They won't care about you either, but you won't get your legs blown off at work. Something got very serious.
Depends what part of London you work in.
Well, that's very true, yeah. If you're in Hackney, then all bets are off. Burton-on-Trent. Hello, Adrian.
Hello, Nick. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, I've actually got my location wrong. I'm actually in Birmingham tonight.
Are you?
I'm in the middle of... I don't know if you're going to like this or not. I'm in the middle of seeing Frank Skinner.
Really? Truthfully?
Yeah.
Because I read about that today. Frank Skinner is on...
yeah, you know what I'm going to say.
He's doing a stand-up. Don't mention anything about the football. Presumably you've left while they're watching the football. Don't mention anything about it.
Yeah.
And he's doing a show of two halves so that people can watch the match tonight. Huh. Well, what made you go to that?
Well, I've never really been to stand-up comedy much. I mean, I've only seen Jasper Carrot, and...
But were you aware that he was going to do that before you went to that specific night?
No, because
okay.
This has been booked sort of a couple of months sort of in advance.
Right. So that'll be quite a memorable night. How is he funny?
Yeah, it's quite funny. Nothing I could repeat on the air, really.
No, I bet, yeah.
It's all sort of smutty, so down my alley. But, but yeah, I mean, the mate mentioned something about him doing that, and I thought, no, that can't be right.
Is it an intimate venue or a giant stadium?
It's a giant stadium. Well, it's the NIA, so...
Oh, blimey. Well, that's not a good place to see comedy, surely. That would be a good place to see Pink Floyd, but not one man with a joke.
Yeah, because, funny enough, I mean, he's like the only sort of comedy acts that got on. A lot of it's like, well, obviously it's coming to Christmas, so it's like X Factor Live and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Madness. Which, yeah, probably rolls into one, really. X Factor Madness.
No, you can't put X Factor in the same category as Madness. Madness were great.
Yeah, but I mean, all the rest are they're all sorts of music acts.
Yeah.
And, well, they ain't got the best seats. It's like a million miles in the air near the back. And the seats are like really, you know, I thought sitting on the plane was uncomfortable, but...
I can't think of... so the NIA, presumably, is about the size of Earl's Court. It's this giant hangar, the hot, soulless hangar of a place, right?
Yeah.
And you can barely see him, he's so far away, am I correct?
Yeah.
That's no place to see comedy, it really isn't. You want to be up close so you can see the sweat in his forehead.
Yeah, but I mean, these sort of things, you need to know, like, probably the best part of 6 months in advance at the plane, don't you? To have any hope again near the front.
Yeah, yeah. Anyone that is popular. Although, didn't Robin Williams famously turn up unannounced when he was in town, when he was in London at the Comedy Store?
Mm.
I think he used to do that on a regular basis, and he's one of the greatest stand-ups of all time. So,
yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd much rather go and see people that I don't know in a small club than go and see a comedian that I do in a giant hangar. Because I bet it wasn't cheap either.
Well, it weren't too bad, 24 quid. So
24 quid, multiplied by how many people are in there?
There's got to be about 400 or 500 people.
Oh, is that all? Oh, I thought you were going to say me 4,000 or 5,000. I thought the NIA was a giant stadium.
It's sort of medium-sized. I wouldn't say it's giant, but,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
still, it's a good payday, eh?
Sorry?
He's, yeah, it's worth his bother, yeah.
Yeah, it must be. But I'm hoping it doesn't take too long in the second half, because the car park we parked in is about 5 minutes away.
Well, you can always leave.
Yeah, but it shuts at 12 o'clock.
I very much doubt that he's got enough material to last till 12. Yeah, I think you'll be safe there, Aid.
Yeah, I've not seen Ken Dodd, am I, sir?
No, exactly right, yeah, he ain't Ken Dodd, no.
If I'd seen Ken Dodd, I'd be reclaiming my car in the pound.
Yeah, precisely. All right, well, I hope it goes well. Cheers, mate.
Yeah, I better get back in. Okay.
All right, ta-da. 9:45. Here's Travel with Amanda Redmond.
Just getting word coming...
no time for the old in and out, love. I've just come to read the meter.
Joshua.
Hey, Nick.
How are you?
I was going to say, hi, Nick. I just love the conversations you have with Louise.
Well, I'm about to have another one.
About the lady who rang about the army.
Yes. She used to be in a sergeant's mess, and she was giving me tips on trees.
That's right. She's very correct about the demoralization of the troops in Iraq. I mean, which army would send their troops without body armor at any time, at any war? It's one of the reasons why that sergeant died. He handed over his body armor to another person.
There is, as like I said, I don't really want to get bogged down on this because there's no happy stories about this subject at all. But there is, on a daily basis, some shocking revelation or other about the way that our the people in the army are treated. I mean, it's not like they're paid very much to begin with. That you'd think that we'd be able to equip them well in order to save their lives. I'm really kind of confused about this whole thing. I just don't get it.
I still don't understand how Jeff Hoon never got sacked for standing up in Parliament, and he did mislead the Parliament, even though he didn't actually admit it. Remember when he used to stand up in Parliament and say that everything was okay, and he would bring out statistics and things like that. That's all they ever do anyway.
Well, that's the nature of government targets, and the nature of the statistical machine is to tell us what a great job they're doing, which might be at odds with your own experience.
Okay, I just wanted to agree with that lady, and also I want to say this is one of the best programs on radio.
Okay, thanks a lot, Joshua.
My pleasure.
Cheers, mate. Ta-da. Hi, Louise.
Hi, Nick.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Are you?
Super duper, thanks for asking.
Good.
Barnsley, are you up to your neck in snow yet?
No, Penistone had some snow. We didn't have any though.
Where did?
Penistone.
Where?
Penistone. It's near
Penistone.
Sheffield.
Spell
Yeah.
it.
You what, sorry?
Spell it.
You know how it's spelled.
I've got no idea how it's spelled.
Yeah, it's spelled like Penistone.
Oh, really? Huh, had no idea.
Yeah. But I'm very disappointed we didn't get any snow, because it's been freezing here.
Well, we've been reading in the press that everywhere north of Watford has had snow drifts.
Oh, no, we haven't. Not yet.
Looks like Zermatt up there. Huh, okay. Is it particularly cold up there? Because you're going to get cold before we do.
I don't mind it being this cold if it's snowing or if it's icy, but it's just ridiculous. It's just cold for the sake of it.
Because it was very mild here today, right, Helen? It was, it seemed balmy, even. I went out with my hat, coat, gloves, scarf, the whole bit, and I had to shed almost everything I was wearing before I got to the end of the street.
Really? It's freezing. It'll come your way soon.
Yeah. You could be our bellwether, our early warning system.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you were talking about MySpace and Facebook and stuff like that earlier on.
Yeah.
It's really good for people who can't get out of the house, I think, for whatever reason, because at least they've got some company there.
Exactly.
Even if they are typing. And,
I suppose I was painting a negative picture of the future of the human race, because I just think that there is, it's not people of our generation necessarily, but teenagers are have the potential to be utterly hooked on this thing, and to spend all of their and to make all of their socialising through a screen, and there can't be anything that's psychologically healthy about that.
Yeah, it is very addictive. You have to be careful not to, take over your life.
Right.
And it's good for bands and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly shaken up the show business, that's for sure.
Definitely. It's about time something did.
Exactly, yes. There's an industry that needed a bit of a shake. Yeah, you're quite right.
But what's even worse than MySpace and that is IMVU.
The what?
Because you have to pay.
What is it?
It's called IMVU. It's like a messaging system, but it's like all in 3D.
IMVU?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Well, what does it stand for?
I haven't a clue. Instant something or another. Instant messaging something or another.
Right.
And you have to pay for graphics.
Graphics?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like, you don't actually own something, but you pay for it just for it to come up on a computer screen.
Now I'm really confused. What, like this Habbo Hotel thing that I was talking about?
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. But people are spending like $45 on a room.
All right, well that's just that's just crazy. I won't have any argument about this. That's just silly.
It is silly. It is absolutely.
Put your credit cards away, people. And the invidious thing about computers, by the way, and credit cards is, no matter what you're buying, it doesn't ever seem like it's actual money.
No, it doesn't, does it?
It doesn't seem real. You just tap in your little number and then you get whatever you want. And it doesn't seem as though you're actually handing over any money. Yeah. Insidious.
It's bad, that. Especially if you're on eBay.
Right, well, without mentioning any brand names. eBay, you say? Right.
Anyway, like that.
Don't get carried away.
No. It is bad. It's like shopping there with credit cards, isn't it? You don't actually realise.
Yeah, but when you're shopping, you actually get the thing, and so you realise, you realise consciously that you've actually made a trade. You feel that you've given them money. When you do it on the net, you don't get what it is straight away. They stick it in the post, and you get it later. And so it's almost as though you don't associate spending money with actually handing over actual real money. There's just something about buying things on the net that doesn't feel like you're giving over any money.
It's a good job I don't have an overdraft in my bank account.
I'm thinking of cutting up all of my cards.
Yeah, me too. I just direct debit and then that's it, really.
Right, I'm not thinking of cutting up all my cards, but I'll think about it, but I won't actually do it.
Yeah, it is bad. I think credit cards are one of the worst things ever been invented.
Well, it depends. It's like alcohol. You can abuse it, or you can use it.
Everything in moderation.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Louise.
Thanks, Nick.
Cheers, Manita. Ta-ra.
Bye.
LBC.
Come on, we're running late!
Oh, I've got myself all tangled up. Please amuse yourselves while I... There you go. Joan!
Hello, Nick. I think I might have found a solution for your Christmas tree.
Right, now what do you
I think I have,
right,
but
what do you think about the idea? Because I've not thought about this before, but I think this year I might do it. Buy one tree now-ish, well, you know, the beginning of December, and then change it for a completely different tree after 2 weeks.
That's too much hard work. It really is, but if you have one tree, I get one of those ones that stay good anyway.
Right.
And then on the week running up to Christmas, have a set of lights standing by and put those on as extra. And about 5 absolutely devastating, lovely big baubles.
Yeah.
And you'll have like a new tree with new, you know, it'll feel new and it'll feel quite striking. And anybody that's seen it in the first week, they'll think, oh, my goodness, it's even better this week.
Right.
You're not convinced, are you?
No.
I've done that myself. I've added a second, but it's difficult if you've already got lots of baubles on. But you can do it. You can add a second
Right.
light.
To refresh it, you mean?
Yeah, yes, that's it. It gives it a new look. And just 5 different things on the tree, or maybe chocolate things.
Ooh, so yummy.
Yeah, and they've got these lovely ones in Thornton's at the moment.
What, without mentioning any brand names? Thornton's, you say?
And I could just see those hanging on my tree.
Yeah, they wouldn't hang very long, though, I bet.
They probably wouldn't. No, once the kids have spied them anyway. Apart from me.
But does it sound insane to want 2 trees?
Well,
one after the other?
I've had 2 trees, but simultaneously at
Yeah,
times.
simultaneously, that's one thing, but...
Yes, I think it's too much hard work.
Because when do you take it down? I mean, if you put it up at the beginning of December, and you take it down in, almost halfway through January, don't you?
5th of January, I always take mine down.
The 5th, right,
Oh,
okay.
yes, have to.
Well, that's at least 5 weeks. And that's too long for a dead tree to...
I wouldn't put mine up that far in advance, though. But then
remain
if you're going to, as I say, you know, just give it a kind of new life. And if you get one of those long-lasting ones, they don't really fall or anything.
Yeah, it's not the needles so much, because I know that they, with genetic engineering or however it is they do it, they torture the trees into keeping the needles on. But it's when the branches kind of sag and touch the ground.
No, these ones don't. You know those really thick branched ones that we get now?
I just don't want Christmas to
sag.
To look sad.
No, it
that's
won't
all.
sag. But if you just want to make people feel excited again,
Yeah.
just get a new set of lights.
Right. Okay, or I could show 'em my own baubles.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Joan.
Bye, no.
Ta-ra. Hey, what we talked about today, Helen?
We talked about the traffic,
Yes.
Modules, Parkinson.
Oh, yeah.
That fella. Northern Rock. How do shares work? How do the banks work? High definition, although you didn't get onto that.
Right. Faster.
Were you ever married to Eve Pollard? That
No.
wasn't in the show, but someone asked that. Facebook, MySpace, Tax, Boy Fridges, email Amy Winehouse, Billy Ray Cyrus. That's it.
On 97.3.